On a frosty October night, the defending champs and their convincing bullpen silence Colorado.
When the postseason starts, it's a completely new slate.
With a 2-1 lead, confidence levels are soaring through the Philadelphia clubhouse.
We're all pulling for each other extra hard right now.
Tonight, the Rockies are in dire need of a win, facing a familiar foe, Cliff Lee.
Physically, I feel fine right now. I have no issues.
The Fightin' Phils are dialed in. For Colorado, it's rally time. Phillies, Rockies, Game 4, next.
Monday night in downtown Denver at one of baseball's most beautiful ballparks, Coors Field. 50,000 will be on hand tonight. It is Game 4 of this National League Division Series. National League Division Series coverage on TBS is presented by BlackBerry. And let's get you caught up. Tell you what's happened here as we get set for this fourth game. The reigning world champs, the Phillies, the wild card entrants. The Colorado Rockies. Game 1 was a Cliff Lee masterpiece. He finished what he started, a complete game, and a 5-1 Philadelphia win. In Game 2, it was Yorvi Torrealba, a postseason star from '07. He belted a 2-run homer, and it led to a Colorado victory in Philadelphia, 5-4. Last night, a thriller here at Coors Field. Ryan Howard's 9th inning sacrifice fly, his 4th RBI of the NLDS. Brad Lidge was on for the save. He retired Tulowitzki, and a 6-5 victory in a marathon night here at Coors Field. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Denver. Brian Anderson along with Joe Simpson. Great to have you with us. This has been a great series so far. Very competitive. And Joe, these are two teams very well matched at this point. Two dynamic offenses, and they've produced in this series so far.
They have, Brian, and it's been pretty evenly matched in a lot of different offensive categories. But there's one glaring difference in these two teams so far. Yeah, 2 one-run games the last 2 ball games, so the run differential's not much. The Phillies have been getting more guys on base because they have a few more hits, and they've been picking up a lot more walks. Higher on base percentage, but down at the bottom, they're hitting when they get men in scoring position, and flat out, honestly, the Colorado Rockies are not. If the Rockies want to even this series today, they've got to drive those guys in when they get them in scoring position.
Well, this was a day that was supposed to be an off day, but weather forced the cancellation on Saturday, and that means both of the aces are ready to go once again, and both of these aces, Ubaldo Jimenez and Cliff Lee, pitching on their regular rest.
They are, and they both should be very strong. Of course, Cliff Lee, as you just said, coming off a complete game effort in Game 1. However, this is his first ever game to pitch at Coors Field. It's going to be different. As David Wells just talked about, it's a little tough sometimes to get a grip on your curveball. We'll find out what he goes to in his arsenal today. But for Ubaldo Jimenez, he's a guy who's got to be more aggressive today than he was in his first start. He certainly has to go farther than 5+ innings like he did in Game 1.
Jimenez has one of the great fastballs in all of the game. He can hit triple digits with that fastball. We might see that tonight here in Denver. The Rockies trying to make it one more day. They're hoping to force a Game 5. As for the Phillies, they're hoping for a rare repeat as World Series champs. They are 1 win away from advancing to keep that dream alive.
The MLB Division Series on TBS is presented by BlackBerry and brought to you in part by the rich, creamy taste of Hass avocados. Log on to tbs.com/Hass avocados to learn more about the Hass avocados, the Big Hit Sweepstakes. By Foster's. Do you speak Australian? Foster's is Australian for beer. And by PowerMat Wireless Charging. Just drop, change, and loose the cord.
Beautiful shot of the Rocky Mountains, and they're hoping to be Rocky Mountain high here tonight in Denver as they hope their home team, the Rockies, can advance in this series. It is 47 degrees, much better playing conditions tonight than we saw last night. Feels more like Rocktober baseball, as they call it here in Denver. Game 4 of this National League Division Series. Coverage on TBS, brought to you in HD by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And let's get to those starting lineups. First for the reigning world champs, the Philadelphia Phillies. And Joe, no changes for Charlie Manuel.
No, the lineup has been the same for the first 3 games. And why change it, Brian? Jimmy Rollins at the top. He's had 1 hit in each of the first 3 games. Shane Victorino in center field. Chase Utley had a big night last night, including a homer. He'll bat third. Ryan Howard has driven in 4 runs in this series. He's in the cleanup spot. Jason Worth with a homer and a triple in the series as well. Raul Ibanez leads this team in RBIs in the division series with 5. Pedro Feliz is at third base. Carlos Ruiz drove in a couple of runs last night. He's got 3 RBIs in the series. And Cliff Lee, the pitcher, had a base hit and a stolen base in game 1. On the mound for the Rockies, Ubaldo Jimenez, 25 years old, 6'4", 200-pounder out of the Dominican Republic. Went 15-12 in the regular season. 5+ innings in game 1, 9 hits, 5 runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. However, in the first 4 innings, he only gave up 3 hits, no runs, no walks, and struck out his 4 batters. And then all of a sudden, in the 5th inning, ran into trouble, and it started with a leadoff walk. And he says he got away from his fastball, started going to some splits and some changeups that got him in trouble. He's been encouraged by his manager and pitching coach to stay with the 100-mile-an-hour stuff. The defense behind him this afternoon, a little bit different, especially in the outfield. Seth Smith gets his first start in this playoff. He'll be in left field. Dexter Fowler in center, and hot-hitting Carlos Gonzalez in right. Atkins, Tulowitzki, Barmas, and Helton remain the same third to first. And Yorvik Torrealba will do the catching.
And it'll be Torrealba's job to try to keep the big right-hander settled down here tonight. Ubaldo Jimenez, one of the top young right-handers in the game, and we mentioned has one of the best fastballs going. He was up in the upper 90s in Philadelphia in game 1, but as Joe mentioned, he ran out of gas. This is a tough lineup to get through the 2nd and 3rd time through, and the Colorado starters have found their troubles in the middle of games. And Jim Tracy's been forced to use a lot of relievers, covering a lot of innings in the first 3 games of this series. The Phillies lead 2-1. Phillies winning game 1 and game 3 last night. The Rockies picked up their lone victory in game 2. We're set for baseball. Jimenez first pitch is down low and away we go from Coors Field in Denver. And we're glad you're with us tonight.
Shadows could be a factor, Brian. It is a late afternoon start here in Denver.
Kind of a hazy night in downtown Denver tonight. And as the sun pops out, tough to see Jimenez fastball anyway, especially when it goes from the sunlight to the shadow halfway to the plate.
That's one of the hardest situations from a shadow standpoint, is having the pitcher stand in the sunshine, having released the ball in the sunshine, and then have the ball travel the distance in the shadows. Charlie Manuel talking before the game about the Phillies' opportunity to perhaps run on Jimenez. He said, if we get the chances, if we get Rollins, Victorino, or Utley on, we'll run.
And Jimenez knows the best weapon against that is to prevent the Phillies from getting on base, which is a tough task. Philadelphia has a dynamic, balanced offense. They hit for a lot of power. They steal a lot of bases. Their success rate with stolen bases is tops in the National League during the regular season as well. And they can hurt you in a lot of ways. That one misses badly inside. I think it caught a piece of the home plate umpire, Ron Kolpa.
Got him on the foot, I think. I don't know how Rollins got out of the way. He's right on top of the plate. Torrealba didn't get a glove on it. Hit the umpire right in the foot. They cannot afford to walk 8 batters like they did last night, Brian. They've got to throw more strikes and force the Phillies to put the ball in play.
Rollins in the air to center field. Dexter Fowler, the rookie Rockies center fielder, runs it down for out number 1. 6-man crew here for the postseason. Ron Kolpa calling the balls and strikes here tonight. Angel Hernandez, Tim Timmons, and Jerry Davis on the bases. Jerry Davis is the crew chief. The outfield umpires Bob Davidson and Jerry Meals, who had the plate last night. Kolpa, his 7th postseason appearance. One gone for Shane Victorino. Philadelphia won 93 games during the regular year, 93 and 69, their 9th consecutive winning season in Philadelphia, their 3rd straight Eastern Division title. And we talked about the Phillies trying to repeat as World Series champions. It's been almost a decade since we saw the last back-to-back champions. That's when the Yankees won 3 straight, as a matter of fact, at the end of the 90s. But it's been over 3 decades since we've seen back-to-back World Series champs in the National League. You got to go back to the Big Red Machine in the mid-70s.
It's amazing that it's been that long for a National League ball club, but the Phillies certainly in a unique position to be able to stake their claim to that same type spot. But got to get past the Rockies first.
1-2 to Victorino. They'll ask if he went. Able to check his swing, says Jerry Davis.
That was the curveball. Doesn't throw a lot of them. Uses mostly his fastball to both sides of the plate. Has a slider and a changeup.
Now the winner of this divisional series will head to Los Angeles to take on the Dodgers. 3 of the 4 division series already wrapped up, all sweeps. The last 2 standing in the NLDS. Victorino pops it up. Torrealba gives it a look. That one is headed for the seats.
That last pitch, Brian, I think indicative of what Bob Apodaca and Jim Tracy have tried to get across to Jimenez in this series. That while the Phillies have a formidable lineup, when you get behind in the count or have to deliver a strike like this one, 3-2, stay with your fastball. It's still a great pitch, hard to catch up to, and so far in the case of Rollins and Victorino, they have not.
Puts the fastball down, does Torrealba, and Victorino is jammed, able to fight it off foul. Now Bob Apodaca and Jim Tracy commenting on Jimenez, what they'd like to see differently tonight than what we saw in game 1. He loves the swing and miss pitch, and his swing and miss pitches are his breaking balls, his split finger fastballs. They wouldn't mind if he pitched to contact as Victorino sends that one deep to right. That one's got a chance and it's gone. Shane Victorino with a home run. A lightning bolt of a shot from Victorino. And just like last night, the Phillies strike first with a long ball.
Well, he caught up to that one, didn't he? 99 on that fastball, and Victorino got the head of the bat out there and got it out front. A little bit out away from him, but he crowds the plate. And about 3 feet to the right, it's off the wall. Instead, it's in the bullpen. And like they did last night, they get a first-inning homer.
Victorino showed a big power bat last year in the postseason. Had that memorable grand slam against CC Sabathia in the NLDS and a memorable home run at Dodger Stadium in the league championship series. The 3rd Phillies home run. Victorino joins Utley and Jason Worth.
I can't think of anything worse right now for Jimenez, Brian, than to have somebody hit your Sunday best pitch into the bullpen. Been encouraged to use it, throwing it hard, and then somebody turns it around. That's got to make him think twice.
He immediately falls behind Chase Utley, who is one of the better fastball hitters around. That short, compact stroke.
And as a result, he falls behind 3-0. Maybe a little concerned about having his best fastball turned around.
Chase Utley had a big night last night. He scored twice, had 3 hits in the game, including that home run in the first. He was on base 4 times in his 5 trips to the plate. 3 for 4 with a solo home run, his first of the postseason. Puts that one right by him, does Jimenez. So back to a full count as Ubaldo works his way back into the count against Utley.
3rd straight full count. See if he stays with the fastball. 3-2. He did, and that one hit the umpire in the knee.
Well, a shaky start for the Colorado ace, Ubaldo Jimenez. After the home run, Utley draws the walk. Boy, the heart of the Philadelphia order has been big in this series so far. Talking about guys like Victorino and Utley and Howard, Worth, Ibanez. This is a tough batting order to get through. And they have done significant damage in all 3 games of this series.
They have a lot of weapons, Brian. Those 4 guys, you can see the damage. 6 extra base hits, 12 RBIs, 11 runs scored. As you would expect them to do.
Ryan Howard has 4 runs batted in, had the game-winning RBI last night with a sacrifice fly in the 9th inning. The top run producer in the major leagues this year at 141 runs batted in. That tied him with Prince Fielder of the Milwaukee Brewers for the top spot in baseball. And he's been very productive in this series.
The difference between the middle of this order and 2 years ago when they played the Rockies and got swept in the division series is I think they were all trying to do too much. They were overly aggressive. They struck out a lot, chased bad pitches. Last year's success has given them the confidence to let the game come to them and be patient at the plate, and it's paying off.
There's a good fastball from Jimenez, down and in, and he gets ahead of Ryan Howard. A ball and 2 strikes.
95 on the corner. That's not too bad.
Pitch number 25 of the inning. One thing the Phillies did well against Jimenez in game 1, they were able to implement their running game, stealing bases against Jimenez and putting the Rocky starting pitcher in an anxious spot on the mound. That balance between holding a runner and making good pitches to the batter. Philadelphia had him flustered. Howard rolls to Barmes to second for 1. Tulowitzki's return, not in time. Howard beats it out. The Rockies thought they had a double play.
Jim Tracy out quickly to talk to Angel Hernandez. There's a close play at first base last night that went against the Rockies that upset Tracy and the club. One that was inconclusive as whether or not Todd Helton kept his foot on the bag. That one appeared that he had his foot on the bag, and they appeared to get him. Yeah, double play. His foot on the bag. Yep, like he kept his left toe on there.
Instead, the inning continues for Philadelphia. So Howard at first with 2 outs. Here's Jason Worth. Worth has 3 hits in the series. That includes a home run. Has a couple of runs driven in. He also tripled back in Philadelphia. He scored 4 runs. 3 for 10 at the plate.
Inside.
Third time in this series the Phillies have taken the early lead. And just like last night, a first inning run on a home run. It was Utley last night, Victorino here tonight.
It was off Jimenez that Worth hit the triple in Philadelphia with that gale blowing across from left to right that blew the ball really into the field of play, kept it from being a homer.
Now, Worth said it was one of the hardest hit balls he's ever had. And had it not been for that strong wind that day, would have easily been into the seats for a home run. He was, a matter of fact, at his home run trot, he hit it so well, and it probably ended up costing him an inside the park home run.
Another 3-1 count.
Howard takes off. And Ward sends one to right. Routine for Gonzalez. Inning over, but the Phillies strike first. The team that has scored the first run has won the first 3 games. 1-0 Phillies. The Rockies coming up.
A Shane Victorino home run puts the Phillies on top. Here's Jim Tracy's starting lineup for Game 4. Carlos Gonzalez, who is 8 for 13 in this series, leads it off, followed by switch hitting Dexter Fowler. Todd Helton is at first base. Troy Tulowitzki's the cleanup hitter. Garrett Atkins had a couple of big hits last night. He's at third base. Orvie Torrealba drops to the 6th spot this afternoon. Seth Smith in left field for his first start. Clint Farmas at second base. Ubaldo Jimenez the pitcher. Cliff Lee on the mound, 32 years old, 6'3", 190. Went 9 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, no walks, 5 strikeouts in Philadelphia. First start ever at Coors Field.
And he went the distance in his first career postseason appearance. Lee was a member of the Cleveland Indians ball club that went to the postseason back in '07, but he was left off the postseason roster. And then he came back and won the Cy Young Award in the American League. And Carlos Gonzalez keeps on hitting. Gonzalez with his 9th hit of the series. 8 of those 9 hits have come against left-handed pitchers.
Remember that over in that start against the Rockies in Philadelphia, Cliff Lee was outstanding with first pitch strikes and getting ahead. I think you can expect the Rockies to be a little more aggressive early in the count today, as Gonzalez closes in on Dante Bichette for the most hits in Rockies history in the postseason, in a division series, I should say.
No, he leads all division series batters in hits right now with 9. He has been the breakout star of this NLDS for Colorado. And he is a base stealer as well. Gonzalez stole 27 bases during the regular season. He wasn't promoted to the big leagues until June 1st. Has 2 stolen bases in this postseason thus far. He's the only Rocky to have stolen a base as Fowler goes to the opposite field. And the aggressive Rockies coming out swinging the bats early against Lee with 2 hits to start it.
Nice piece of hitting by Dexter Fowler going the other way. Like a cutter to the outside corner. And he did a good job of going with this pitch. So some early action against Cliff Lee, something the Rockies did in Game 1, but couldn't capitalize. They left a couple of runners on in the first inning. Here we go, those runners in scoring position. Let's see if the Rockies can do a better job today.
Todd Helton. Couple of hits in this series. He's 2 for 12. He's driven in a couple of runs as well. Both of his RBIs were plated without the benefit of a hit. Force out and a fielder's choice delivering the runs for Todd Helton. Hit .341 during the regular year. 4th best in the National League this season. He also was among league leaders in on-base percentage. .416 was his on-base percentage. A guy who rarely strikes out. Right off the end of the bat, Lee bobbles, still goes to second, and that one is going to be in time as Fowler slides right into the glove of Rollins.
Are you kidding me? What a smart play by Jimmy Rollins just to leave his glove there. Fowler had pinned the glove against the bag. It looked like the throw was late, but no argument from Fowler. Jim Tracy's out to argue with Tim Timmons, but it looked like Jimmy Rollins did a very smart thing here. A real risk from Lee after the bobble, but the throw was right on the bag, and look, the foot is on the glove.
That's about as clear as it gets for Tim Timmons. That's all he needed to see. That's an out call. The glove between the shoe and the base.
After the bobble, one would expect Lee just to go to first to get the easy out, and it looked like he had made a huge mistake, but his throw is right on the base, and that's where the foot went into the glove. What a play.
And Tim Timmons right in position to make that call. Cliff Lee fired a 90-mile-an-hour fastball over to Jimmy Rollins and just does clip Dexter Fowler. First out of the inning. Runners at the corners now. And here is Tulowitzki.
Tulowitzki had a couple of hits off of Lee. 2 of the 6 in Philadelphia. But they need Tulowitzki and Helton to do their thing today. Drive in runs, find some gaps, maybe hit one out of here. Get this crowd into it.
25-year-old shortstop Troy Tulowitzki celebrated his birthday here in Denver on Saturday. In just his 3rd season in the big leagues. And his best season statistically so far, especially in the power categories. Tulowitzki belting 32 home runs this year. 92 driven in. Was up briefly at 06. His rookie year was 07. And a bona fide star at this point. He is fast becoming the face of the franchise here in Denver, Colorado.
If you've not seen Troy Tulowitzki in recent days, you can see how spread out he was last year. Even the year before, when he first came up, he spread out so that he could make more contact, cut down on his swing a little bit. Jim Tracy, Don Baylor, Glenn Allen Hill said, hey, we want the guy that can drive the ball out of the ballpark. And this is the way he always hit in the minor leagues in college. More upright and gets better extension.
And that batting stance kept getting lower and lower. And Don Baylor was issued with the challenge from Jim Tracy to go find the Rockies 6'3" shortstop instead of the 5'10" version.
Yeah, where'd he go?
He wanted the power hitter back. And Don Baylor, who managed this Colorado ball club back in '95, their first playoff entry, took the challenge, stood up Tulowitzki, and he's delivered. In the dirt, Ruiz goes to second, and Helton is in there. Heads up base running. Todd Helton advances into scoring position on a wild pitch from Cliff Lee.
Nice block by Ruiz on a ball that was about 6 feet out in front of home plate when it skipped to the plate. Throws a little off the mark, but good hustle by Helton, who doesn't run near as well as he used to, but he gets there in good shape to get into scoring position for Tulowitzki.
Well, look at Utley put that leg right in front of the bag. Helton had only one spot, the back corner, to get to.
Gotta like it when the fans in Colorado are doing their Tulo chant.
Second and third for the Rockies. Phillies scored a run in the first on a Victorino home run. Now Colorado threatening. And Tulowitzki goes down on strikes. Cliff Lee with that cut fastball punches him out for out number 2, and a big strikeout early for Lee.
Best pitch of the inning. A real snappy, hard cutter that was biting under his hands. Tulowitzki couldn't get the bat extended, and that's a big out for Cliff Lee.
Lee loves to pitch inside, especially to right-handers, and has the movement to do it. Has a good fastball to begin with, 90+ mile-an-hour fastball, but that cut fastball will break some bats throughout the course of a game usually. Garrett Atkins with 2 on.
He came up in the first game against Cliff Lee in the first inning, Brian, with runners at first and third. Rockies were threatening, and he flied out. But he's been coming through since then. Drove in a run with that single, then almost hit one out last night off of Jay Happ, short hopping the 415 mark, and that plated Todd Helton from first.
Note Atkins with 2 hits. He drove in a pair. He also lined out. Jim Tracy feeling good about the way he's swinging the bat, and bumps him up a spot in the lineup. He and Torrealba flip-flop. Atkins in the run-producing spot, batting 5th, and he has 2 runners out there in scoring position.
That runner in scoring position number we showed you at the beginning of the game, so important for Colorado in this series, and the fact that they have not hit well, and they're 0 for 2 this inning already.
Rockies trying to get to Lee early before he locks in. In game 1, Lee had 2 on base with 2 outs, got out of the inning, and ended up finishing the game. At one point, he retired 16 straight Rockies back at Citizens Bank Park. That was on Wednesday.
He gets behind in the count. He doesn't mess around too much. He's going to be aggressive, as you said, especially into right-handed hitters. But he's got a good changeup too. And the first base open, you might see it here.
Atkins off the end of the bat. Jimmy Rollins, the Gold Glove shortstop, will take care of him to end the inning. Cliff Lee bends a little, gives up a couple of leadoff hits, but no runs, and we head to the second inning.
Welcome back to Coors Field. I'm David Aldridge. You heard Joe Simpson talk about the differences between the world champion Phillies of 2009 and the upstart Phillies of 2007. Phillies tell you that that season, even though they didn't win the World Series, that was the most important year for this franchise. Think about all the questions that surrounded what is now that core group of Phillies. People thought Jimmy Rollins wasn't a great leadoff hitter. They wondered if it was worth trading Jim Thome away so that Ryan Howard could play every day. Could Shane Victorino stay healthy? All those questions were answered. For that matter, was Charlie Manuel good enough to be a manager? It was that team that came back and beat the Mets late in September to win the National League East that convinced management that this was a core group that they could build around. They added Brad Lidge last year. They added Cliff Lee this year. But it's that core group, Rollins, Victorino, Utley, Howard, Jason Worth, that police Charlie Manuel's locker room and that lead this team, Brian.
And many of those players given multi-year contracts, and it allows Charlie Manuel to have a most consistent lineup throughout the course of the regular season, and certainly here in the postseason. He's used the same 8 position players in his starting lineup in every game, and it's not just about the players that went through that experience, but they've all upped their expectations, and they've all performed at a much higher level. As Jimenez strikes out Raul Ibanez.
Good pitch there. Good start for him after giving up the home run in the first and pitching out of some trouble. Here's the pitch sequence for that strikeout of Ibanez, who last night walked 3 times. Curveball, fastball fell behind, but then came right back.
Now Pedro Feliz with 1 away.
David made a good point there. He talked about how those guys police their clubhouse, Brian, and we noticed in the first game in Philadelphia, you wondered if the Phillies would have the same desire to repeat as they had for their first World Championship, and that was evident from the first inning on in Philadelphia in game 1. And these guys, these veterans, are not going to let anybody half step. They are good at going for the kill. They know what it takes to win. And they've got seasoned veterans at virtually every spot.
And now veterans that have been through the postseason fires as well. And a World Series championship a year ago. The Phillies trying to repeat as World Series champs. Down goes Feliz. Back-to-back strikeouts.
And they were on off-speed pitches, and both swinging. He's got a good curveball. He's not afraid to throw it at Coors Field. He just can't fall in love with it. You've still got to keep the hitters honest with that good fastball.
Now Jimenez threw 30 pitches in the first inning. Gave up the home run to Victorino. And 3 base runners in the first. Just 11 pitches thus far. 2 up, 2 down with 2 strikeouts for Ruiz. And a bouncer over to Barmes off his glove. Cannot recover. Ruiz has another hit. That's his 4th of the series. He's now 4 for 10 in this series. And a 2-out base runner for Philadelphia.
Their bottom of their order is such that you just can't relax inning. They've got too many weapons, as Ruiz proved last night. And at the very least here, he clears the pitcher with 2 out. Gets him out of the way to start the next inning.
Well, if nothing else, it clears the pitcher spot for the Phillies. Although Cliff Lee did have a hit in game 1. And he jumps on the first pitch. A little bouncer to Barmes. Routine play to end the frame. A couple of strikeouts for Ubaldo Jimenez. And a scoreless second. Yorvi Torrealba leads off when we continue.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Sellout crowd here at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. Brian Anderson with Joe Simpson, David Aldridge. 1-0, the Phillies lead the Rockies. As we head to the bottom of the second, Phillies got a run on a Shane Victorino first inning home run. And now Cliff Lee back on the mound for his second inning of work. Back-to-back hits to start the inning against Lee in the first, but the Rockies could not deliver the run. As Lee's able to get through Helton, Tulowitzki, and Atkins. And that's the part of the order for Jim Tracy that he needs to start seeing results from if the Rockies are going to push this to a game 5.
They've got to come through when those guys set the table for them, as they did in the first inning.
Yorvi Torrealba leads off. Torrealba was the star in game 2 in Philadelphia, had a 2-run home run. A game the Rockies would go on to win 5-4 and even the series at 1 game apiece.
Cliff Lee in game 1 was 25 out of 32 in first pitch strikes. Today so far just 1 for 6.
Lee, the reigning American League Cy Young Award winner, traded from the Indians to the Phillies before the trade deadline on July 29th. 4 prospects went from the Phillies to the Indians. It was a 4-for-2 trade. Ben Francisco, an outfielder who was on this postseason roster for Philadelphia, came with Lee.
He was a nice addition to that deal too. Got some pop in his bat.
Might see Francisco late in games if the Phillies have a lead for defensive purposes, as Torrealba fouls it away. 2-2 the count on the Rockies catcher. Torrealba has been another postseason performer. Had a great run in 07. That Rockies won to the World Series, being swept by the Red Sox, but they swept the Phillies in the first round and then took care of the Diamondbacks in the league championship series. Torrealba, a big part of that run in 07. Lost his starting job this year to Chris Iannetta, but he has come back, earned the job back with a huge month of September.
Well, it's all about being ready when that happens, Brian. If you do lose your job, is not going somewhere to pout. Chris Iannetta went cold, and then Torrealba stepped in, as you said, and had a good month of September. He was good in the postseason a couple of years ago, and he's been good this year.
Torrealba 3 for 10 in the series with a homer and 2 ribbies. Out in front of that one. Down he goes on strikes. Strikeout number 2 for Cliff Lee.
Cliff Lee, like so many other pitchers, is a creature of habit. He likes to go to the mound, and then look at this little phantom pitch to second base before he starts warming up to the catcher. But he's also a guy who likes to be the first one out of the dugout to start warming up. But in the postseason, the commercial breaks are a little bit longer. He's now trying to time it so that he doesn't go out, warm up real fast, then stand around waiting to get going. He's timing it so that he's ready to go when we are.
He's not exactly on speaking terms with the timeout coordinator for TBS.
No.
He's always ready to go and utilizing both sides of the slope. Seth Smith in the starting lineup for the first time in this series. Has a couple of pinch hit appearances. Did have a hit. It was his base hit that knocked Jay Happ out of the game in game 2. He hit a line shot right off the left-hander's left knee. Happ made the start yesterday for the Phillies and struggled. Went just 3 innings, allowing 3 earned runs. They were in the bullpens early yesterday, both clubs. Jason Hammel, the Rocky starter, went just 3 2/3. That's one thing Jim Tracy pointed out when we had a chat with him earlier today. He needs to get some innings from his starter, especially with his ace on the mound tonight.
I don't think there's any question that when you look at this series and what the Phillies did, loading their lineup, I should say loading their rotation with lefties, and after the weather delay on Saturday, it allowed them to bring Happ back. It really stymies the Rockies in putting their best offensive lineup on the field. They miss having Smith, Stewart, Hawk all in there against right-handed starters.
And all left-handed bats as Smith cuts and misses. Strikeout number 3 for Cliff Lee. So 2 up and 2 down. And Lee breaking out all of his pitches at this point.
Well, we go back to these veteran pitchers who, if you don't get them early, you don't get them. Rockies had a chance there in the first inning to have a big inning and couldn't come through. They were 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. And now he seems to have found a groove.
He's shown a good fastball. He's kept it down. He's thrown a couple of good cut fastballs. And an excellent curveball to get Smith. Clint Barmes with 2 outs. Right to the bottom of the strike zone. Lee gets ahead of him 0-2.
2 excellent pitches back to back. And Barmes looking for his first hit.
Into shallow center. Victorino. This large outfield runs it down for the out. 3 up, 3 down for Cliff Lee. We head to the 3rd inning from Coors Field in Denver. 1-0 Phillies. National League Division Series coverage on TBS is presented by BlackBerry. And this past Wednesday, Loveland Ski Area opened its chairlifts for one of their earliest ski season starts ever. Loveland became the first ski resort in North America to open for the 09-10 season. Looked like skiing weather here just a couple of days ago, but we've got a nice night for baseball tonight. Phillies out to the early lead as Rollins rolls one out to the Gold Glover Todd Helton. Jimenez there for him, and it's out number 1. 1 pitch, 1 out for Ubaldo Jimenez.
Jimenez has settled in a little bit too after running into trouble in the first inning with a home run and a walk and a quick out of Jimmy Rollins.
Here comes Shane Victorino. Popped his first home run of the postseason this year back in the 1st. His 5th hit already. He's 5 for 13 at the plate. Hit a dramatic home run last year, game 4 of the league championship series, a game tying home run against the Dodgers. The Phillies on their way to their World Series championship.
Jimenez was good here at Coors Field this year, went 9-5 at home, knows how to pitch in this park, doesn't give up a lot of home runs in this park despite the one he gave up in the first inning today.
And Victorino, another base hit, serves one to right. Good piece of hitting there for Victorino, who reaches down and pulls one. 2 for 2 tonight for the All-Star Victorino.
Serves his right breaking ball that was actually down below the strike zone, but he kind of one-hands this, a little magic wand into the right field. And now keep an eye on Victorino and see if he's running against Jimenez.
Now the Phillies feel like they can steal bases at will against Jimenez because of his speed to the plate, not his fastball, but how fast he delivers it to home plate. One of the great base stealers of all time. Davey Lopes is the Philadelphia first base coach. Charlie Manuel has given him the running game. He completely runs the running game for the Philadelphia Phillies.
And as Charlie said, the reason for that is because he knows more about it than I do.
Knows more about it than just about anyone. As you see Lopes with the stopwatch, he's timing the pitcher's move to home plate, his move to first base, and for Davey Lopes it's really just a mathematical equation, and he's not afraid to let Todd Helton know what the Phillies are interested in doing.
Yeah, when he has the time down about how long it takes Jimenez to get to the plate, he's already got it in his book about how long it takes Torrealba to get it to second base, and lets the runner know you can go.
Lopes, a great base stealer in his time with the Dodgers. Career success rate as a player 84% for Davey Lopes. So he's certainly a man who knows what he's talking about. And he's given this Philadelphia ball club a different dynamic with the running game and the speed game, not just a power hitting team.
And I think that's what helps the hitters at times, is the threat of somebody running. It distracts the pitcher enough, they make mistakes, and then those long balls start piling up. .84.5% over the last 3 years. That's amazing.
The best in the big leagues for the Phillies in their 3 division title seasons. With Rollins and Victorino, Utley can steal a base. Worth, there's a base hit. Chase Utley into right center. Victorino's on his way to third. The throw from Gonzalez is not in time. Victorino is in there. Gonzalez has the best arm in this Colorado outfield, and another call goes against the Rockies on a close play at third base.
Jim Tracy's close to arguing for the cycle. He's been to first, he's been to second, now he's at third. Talking to the crew chief, Jerry Davis. What a throw, what an amazing throw by Carlos Gonzalez after Victorino went first to third. Just a laser right to the bag. Throw beat him. Tag was a little late.
Yep.
I think it was a good call. Tagged him on the knee. Looked like the foot got in there. Watch again. Tag is like on the shin as the foot's on the bag.
I think it's a good call. Jerry Davis, the crew chief, was right on it, and Atkins' tag came in late. Victorino went to the back corner of the base. On that throw to third, Utley advances to second. So now the Phillies with runners at second and third, and Howard coming up, and the Rockies content to walk one of the best run producers in the game.
Yeah, and lost in all that was a good swing Utley put on that pitch to hit it into right center. I think most of the time, Brian, that's an easy first to third for Shane Victorino. Only Gonzalez's strong arm made it close. And as you pointed out, a good slide to the back corner may have saved him. Well, it did save him, but it looked like the tag was back up on the shin or even close to his knee.
So the intentional pass to Ryan Howard. And the Phillies load the bases in the third inning against Jimenez.
Take a look at the mid-shin, knee. I think he was in there. I think the foot was on the bag when that was applied. A very, very close play to be sure.
Well, how many times have we looked at it? It's still,
yeah,
you just don't know. Jerry Davis standing right there. But these Rockies fans feeling that so many calls are going against him in this series, especially in the last 2 days here at Coors Field. Well, here's Jason Worth with the bases loaded, and a big spot early for the Colorado ace Jimenez. 11 grand slams this year for the Phillies. That was a National League high this season. Werth had 2 of those 11.
.96 on that fastball that he fouled off his foot. Already early in the game, a huge at bat for Jimenez in terms of trying to control the damage here and limit anything the Phillies do.
.56 pitches already for the Colorado starter.
And he's a guy that gets despite the fact that he throws so hard, Brian, he's a guy that gets a lot of ground ball outs. So he certainly needs one here in the infield, playing back for a double play to get out of the inning.
Werth's a tough man to double up. He has good speed. Rockies have good arms in their outfield all the way around. The best arm is in right, as you've already seen with Carlos Gonzalez.
Tied him up inside, wouldn't let him get his arms extended. This is about location now, and he's making good pitches to Werth. Ran that one in off the plate on him. Trying to prevent him from getting his arms extended. Jason likes the ball out away from him. Good power to right center.
The 1-2, and Werth chases one. A strikeout for Jimenez. His 3rd strikeout, and it's out number 2 while the bases remain loaded.
Had a pitch to work with. He wanted to waste one, and he got Werth to chase it. Huge out for him.
So 2 outs, and here is Ibanez. He has been a big-time run producer in this series. In his first year with the Phillies, Ibanez has driven in 5 runs. 98-mile-an-hour fastball for strike 1.
And that's why he's got to stay aggressive. When he's got that kind of fastball, you got to use it. Keep the hitters honest. Remember, he struck out Ibanez on a changeup, off-speed pitch last time up after he'd set him up with fastballs.
Now only Alex Rodriguez with more runs batted in the League Division Series this year. A-Rod with 6. Ibanez sitting on 5. Bases are loaded for the Phillies. Victorino, Utley, and Howard on the bags. 2 outs. Good block by Torrealba. Saves a run for the Rockies.
He's done an excellent job of that in this series from the first game on. Making sure the ball was going to scoot through between his legs, had the glove blocking up the 5-hole, and just smothered it with his chest. What a big shot in the arm this would be if Jimenez can get out of this jam.
And Torrealba wants to make sure he and Jimenez are on the same page. 2 big fastballs for strikes against Ibanez. One looking, one swinging.
Well, he's got a couple of choices here. He's got a pitch to work with at 2-2. That it does, sir. But if he doesn't want to throw the fastball here, you just saw the changeup and a slider, so you pick. He's going to have to throw it for a strike. Torrealba slapping the ground. He wants it down.
2-2 to Ibanez. And he fights it off. Count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Some stressful pitches early for Ubaldo Jimenez. A lot earlier than Jim Tracy had hoped for. He has the big strikeout ability. He could use one here. The 2-2 just missed. Went back with the off speed. This time Ibanez lays off and the count goes full.
And Torrealba playing some games with the runner at second base. Utley too about location. Pitched before, he slapped the ground and he fired a high and tight fastball. That time he gave a high target and it was a breaking ball down. Trying to make sure there are no location signs being passed to the hitter.
Action pitch coming. Nowhere to put him. 3-2 the count. 2 outs. The runners take off. Ibanez swings and misses. Unable to check it. And a big strikeout. They're pumping the fist here in Denver.
What a finish to the inning. Great job by Jimenez.
One to nothing Phillies. As we head to the bottom of the third, it's time to talk. Brought to you by Charles Schwab. And joining us in that Philadelphia dugout is Phillies pitching coach Rich Dubé. Rich, your thoughts on Cliff Lee, what you've seen in the first inning and then what you saw in inning number 2.
Well, he's getting comfortable out there. He's got his cutter back. It's firm again. It's late. And he's throwing some very good changeups. So those are all good signs.
Rich, this is Joe. He's never pitched in Coors Field before. Did you give him a scouting report on how things might feel differently pitching here?
No, not really. He got his own scouting report warming up. He understood what the ball was doing. And, you know, as long as you don't try to overpower breaking stuff here, they all work. And I think he's in a good atmosphere right now and feeling good about himself.
Rich, thank you for your time. Thanks for your insights.
Thanks, guys.
Cliff Lee back to work. Going to be a tough play. Rollins handles the Jimenez bouncer. Ubaldo Jimenez, a little chopper, and the Gold Glover made it look easy for out number 1. Well, you talk about a momentum shifter, perhaps. Torrealba fired up after that strikeout on Raul Ibanez to strand the bases loaded for the Phillies. It's about top of the spring.
Sorry, Brian. It's about making good pitches when you're in trouble, and he certainly did that to get out of it. 2 huge strikeouts of Worth and Ibanez with the bases loaded.
So the pitch count is high for Jimenez, but only trailing 1-0 as the Rockies get back to the top of their order. Carlos Gonzalez with a base hit in the first.
Asking Charlie Manuel before the game about his impressions of Carlos Gonzalez, he says, well, I know he can hit a fastball.
Good looking hitter, he says.
Yeah.
Charlie Manuel, a great hitting personality, a guru of sorts. He was the hitting coach for many years in Cleveland before taking over as manager of the Indians, and then ultimately here in Philadelphia. But that's one subject that Charlie does not struggle with.
No.
The talk of hitting. And he loves to break down swings, and he did that with Carlos Gonzalez, and he knows now that he is a very good low ball hitter. Gonzalez draws the walk. So the first walk issued by Cliff Lee. And a speedy base runner is aboard with 1 away, and Dexter Fowler coming up.
And he did not walk a batter in game 1. From the leadoff batter in the 2nd inning through the 8th, he set down 21 out of 22 batters. He was on cruise control.
Cliff Lee, a tough pitcher to run on. He is extremely quick to the plate. Matter of fact, Rich Dubé was telling us the other day, Cliff might as well not even throw the baseball to first base. You don't even need to make a throw in case you throw it into the seats or a low throw that gets by. Hitters or runners just struggle getting a good jump on Lee. He can control the running game without even making a toss to first base.
He doesn't look comfortable throwing to first base, even to just toss it over there to hold a runner. Fowler trying to get himself aboard too there with another bunt for a base hit attempt, but puts himself in the hole 0-2.
Rookie center fielder Dexter Fowler. Fowler delivered in game 2 of this best-of-5 series. Had 2 sacrifice flies. Drove in a pair of runs en route to a 5-4 Colorado victory that day, when Aaron Cook beat Cole Hamels, the lone victory of the series for the Rockies. Fowler hit leadoff in game 1. He's been in the 2-hole ever since. Flip-flop at the top of the order for Jim Tracy after game 1 in that Cliff Lee complete game.
And if you've not seen him play before, switch hitter, but a better hitter right-handed. Pretty good fastball there, up in on his hands, biting in on his hands, a cutter. Cutter is kind of a hybrid, if you will, between a fastball and a slider. It's got some movement, in this case from Cliff Lee to a right-handed hitter. It's biting in on their hands, so it starts off looking like something in the middle or the inner third of the plate, and then suddenly it's sawing you off.
Short lead for Gonzalez. Fowler rolls one to second. Utley will place the tag on Gonzalez, shovels one to first for a double play. Outstanding play by the Philadelphia second baseman Chase Utley. Inning over, and Lee 3 scoreless on the board.
Very easy with the bases loaded, 3-2 count in that.
Back at Coors Field in Denver as we head to inning number 4 of this National League Division Series. Best of 5, 2-1 advantage for the Philadelphia Phillies after winning a thriller last night here at Coors Field. Pedro Feliz will lead off. It's the bottom of the order against Ubaldo Jimenez. First pitch swinging, a bouncer to Tulowitzki, and 1 away.
What a perfect beginning to the inning for Jimenez after pitching out of that jam with the 2 strikeouts and get a first pitch out. Of course, he got a first pitch ground out from Jimmy Rollins to start the 3rd before the bases were loaded too, but he's got to be feeling pretty good about himself right now.
66 pitches already for Jimenez. He could use a quick inning here, a low pitch inning. Carlos Ruiz reached on an infield hit in the 2nd. Drove in 2 runs last night, 2 for 4 at the plate. Ruiz now 4 hits in the series and 10 at bats. And if you're going to beat the Phillies, you must control the bottom of the order. If the bottom of the order gets on base and the lineup turns over to Rollins and Victorino, and then the muscle in the middle of that Philadelphia order, you're looking at a long night.
Well, that to me is where their big innings come from, Brian, is you know what you're going to have to deal with when you start an inning with Rollins and the rest. But if the bottom of the order gets something going and then, as you say, get to the top, it can lead to a huge inning.
Sawed him off, a little pop-up, easy play for Atkins, and 2 outs. I think the same applies for Ubaldo Jimenez as it does for Cliff Lee. The Phillies did strike in the 1st inning with that home run by Victorino, but didn't capitalize on a bases loaded opportunity last inning. If Jimenez locks in, he can be extremely tough to handle. It's had a 5-pitch inning thus far, and he has the pitcher Cliff Lee at the plate with 2 outs.
Well, Jimenez is a big, strong kid. He can work his pitch count up there without too much trouble. Good curveball there.
And down goes Lee. An 8-pitch inning for Jimenez. He picks up another strikeout. That gives him 5. Here come the Rockies in the bottom of the 4th, trailing by a run. This November on TBS, George Lopez is bringing the party back to late night. Lopez tonight, weeknights at 11:10 Central, starting November 9th, only on TBS.
That'll be fun. He's a funny guy.
Todd Helton ready to lead off for the Rockies. And Philadelphia with a 1-0 lead. Victorino's first inning home run still standing tall for Cliff Lee. Lee has 3 strikeouts. He's given up 1 walk and 2 hits. Held the former batting champion and had another great season. Had back surgery in the offseason this past year. Came back healthy once again. You knew Todd Helton was healthy when he was joking around, kind of the clubhouse clown, keeps everybody loose. Something that was not there for him a year ago when he was dealing with a balky back. Numbers were down last year, and understandably so, but he was right back where he was accustomed in 2009.
Well, anybody that has to suffer through a bad back can relate to that and how miserable it makes you. Check out the comparison between 09 and 08. There is really no comparison, but back to more familiar territory for Todd Helton in that batting average. Last night was a rarity for him. Everybody after the game talking about how odd it was to see him strike out in such a crucial situation when Madsen came in and fanned him on some high fastballs. That just never happens.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Helton. Serves that one over to third, and Feliz will make the play for out number 1.
Now, there was a pitch that made him take a funny swing. Target away, and that looked like a cutter. Might have been a slider. I think it was just the cutter, though, at 87. That was just moving away from him. And again, he started his swing maybe thinking and recognizing fastball and then trying to slow it down when he saw the ball moving away from him. Really good pitch from Cliff Lee.
And a tough matchup for Todd Helton. The lefty on lefty matchup. 3 lefties in the starting 9 for Jim Tracy tonight against Cliff Lee. Charlie Manuel came into this series knowing he has the dynamic left-handed starters, and he's been able to put a lefty on the Rockies in every game and will continue to do so even if it goes to a Game 5 tomorrow. Cole Hamels in Philadelphia right now is ready to pitch Game 5.
And a new father. Congratulations to Cole and Heidi.
Baby born Friday morning. Hamels pitched Game 2. Left the game in the middle of the game right after he was taken out, as a matter of fact, and rushed to the hospital for the birth of his first child, a son. But Charlie Manuel left Cole Hamels behind. He threw a bullpen session yesterday, his regular between starts routine. So he is available to pitch Game 5 as Tulowitzki sends one foul. Hamels available tomorrow, but also for the Phillies available for Game 1 of the League Championship Series. If Philadelphia can win tonight, that would set up the LCS MVP from a year ago, Cole Hamels, to go Game 1.
Yeah, they would be in real good shape, but they've got to win first. And the Phillies are going to fly home tonight no matter what. If they win tonight, they're still going to go home, repack, and then head out to LA where the series would begin if they win.
NLCS starts Thursday, the ALCS on Friday. The last division series standing here, the Rockies and the Phillies. 3-2 to Tulowitzki.
Tulowitzki with his stance, this old stance of his he's gone back to, very upright. Remember Larry Parrish, third baseman for the Expos and Rangers? He reminds me of Larry Parrish's stance, tall and upright. He has a little bit of a toe tap and not much of a stride.
Off the end of the bat, long run for Utley, and he's wobbling, and he makes the catch for the out. Jason Worth comes crashing in as well. Maud Utley makes the catch, tells Jason Worth, I had it all the way, man. No problem.
I'm not so sure about that, and that may have been what caused Jason to go ahead and make a last-ditch effort for it, because Chase started stumbling here. He was a little wobbly, but able to make the catch, and a little grimace on his face, hoping that Worth is okay. Right there, a little stumble. And Worth, being the good athlete that he is, avoids a collision.
Well, it's a difficult outfield to play here at Coors Field. There's a lot of ground to cover. It's especially difficult for infielders and middle infielders as they go back to make plays on flares like that. You know, normally in most ballparks, not such great dimensions. It's not so deep. Outfielders can play a lot closer. So you have to certainly cover some ground as a middle infielder and range out a little further than you normally would here at Coors Field in Denver.
Another good 94 fastball. Well located from Cliff Lee. He's hitting his spots. Charlie Manuel told us before game one that he said, I'll feel comfortable about Cliff Lee if he's got command of his fastball. He did on that occasion, and he does today.
But he has lived at the bottom of the strike zone so far today. 2 outs and a 1-2 pitch. Atkins fouls it away.
He won his first 5 decisions as a Philly after he came over from the Indians. Finished up 7-4. Did not have a particularly good finish to the season, but boy, he was sensational in his first postseason appearance.
His last 7 starts, an ERA over 6. Combined this year, Cliff Lee, between the Indians and the Phillies, 14 wins, 13 losses, an ERA of 3.22. Atkins down the line. That's a fair ball, backhanded by Feliz, and a good strong throw. And the side retired in order. Cliff Lee locked in once again. 4 shutout on the board. 1-0 Philadelphia as we head to the 5th.
The MLB Division Series on TBS is brought to you by Farmers. To find a Farmers agent, call 800-FARMERS or visit farmers.com, because ready feels good. And by the new T-Mobile MyTouch 3G.
Back in the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado, as we head to the 5th inning. Game 4 of this best-of-5 National League Division Series. 1-0 Philadelphia. A Shane Victorino first inning home run. Still the only run on the board thus far. Phillies have threatened a couple of times. Stranded a base runner in the first after the home run. Left the bases loaded in the 3rd inning as Jimenez struck out Worth and Ibanez with the bases loaded to get through it with no runs allowed.
He set down 5 in a row, and 3 of those are strikeouts.
Top of the order for the Phillies, and the 3rd time through the batting order against Ubaldo Jimenez. Rollins is 0 for 2. It was Rollins' 9th inning single last night that started the rally for the Phillies. Rollins scored what would be the winning run. Sacrifice fly by Ryan Howard, a 6-5 Philadelphia victory. They have been a good road team this year. During the regular year, the Phillies 15 games over 500 away from Citizens Bank Park.
Rollins is 3 for 16 though in this series, Brian, and as that run was the only one he scored so far in this series. They need him on base more. He's not a guy that walks a lot and has not drawn a walk in this series.
Jimenez took a little off and picks up strikeout number 6.
That pitch is a split, and he's not known to throw a lot of split finger pitches, but it's been a beauty for him the last couple of innings.
So many weapons. He must be a fun guy to catch. Whatever you put down is a quality pitch. And when you really get in trouble, you can always put number 1 down at a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, that's what got him in trouble, though, in Philadelphia, was he got away from his fastball, lost his command, and gave up some runs, and eventually took the loss. Everything still has to work off that good heater.
Torrealba was saying after game one he'd like to see Jimenez back it down a couple of notches. He'd like to see him command a 95, 96 mile an hour fastball as opposed to airing one out at 99 or 100, not knowing where it's going, as Victorino is retired. 2 up and 2 down for Ubaldo Jimenez in the 5th.
Well, right now Jimenez is doing his part. He's got to have his teammates give him some breathing room and try to figure out something against Cliff Lee.
Jimenez was on the mound as a starting pitcher back in '07 during the postseason. The Rockies swept the Phillies that year. Jimenez started game 3, went 6 1/3, just 1 run. Took a no decision, but it was a Rockies 2-1 win, and a win that would send them to the league championship series against the Diamondbacks. He was 23 back then. Pitched well in the postseason. In the first 2 rounds, struggled a bit in the World Series against Boston. What brings that kind of experience and a golden right arm at the tender age of 25 to this 2009 postseason.
Out of the Dominican Republic, and he idolizes Pedro Martinez.
Pedro now pitching for the Phillies. He was scheduled to be the game 3 starter before the weather canceled the game. Pedro is available, according to Charlie Manuel, in the bullpen tonight. Jimenez had a poster of Pedro on his bedroom wall. Bob Apodaca said, "Use your fastball like Pedro." Not many commanded the fastball better than Pedro Martinez in his day. There's the Rockies pitching coach. Three and 1 to Utley. Full count.
That looked like a slider and a good pitch. Threw it to the back foot, meaning it was breaking down and in, and he swings over the top of it. Going to be a strike anyway. Good pitch. Split finger pitch has been an out pitch for him the last 2 innings.
Popped him up. Another jam shot. Tulowitzki hauls it in for the out. Jimenez rocking and rolling. The Boys and Girls Clubs of America is the official charity of Major League Baseball, reaching more than 4 million kids worldwide. Together they create a positive place for kids. And a lot of kids among the sellout crowd at Coors Field. Over 50,000 on hand once again. Yesterday they drew 50,109 on a chilly night for baseball here in Denver. The Phillies lead it 1-0. Both of these starting pitchers, the 2 aces of their respective ball clubs, starting to control this game now. Jimenez has a high pitch count, but he's retired 8 straight and has 6 strikeouts through the first 5 innings. Meanwhile, Cliff Lee has surrendered just 1 base runner. That was a walk to Gonzalez. Just 1 base runner since the first inning.
Yeah, he set down 10 of 11. And a double play wiped out that walk.
Yorvi Torrealba, the leadoff hitter in this 5th inning. Lee struck him out in the 2nd. A little flare that'll fall. A base hit. Torrealba singles. Now with a base hit by Torrealba, let's check in with Ernie Johnson in our Atlanta studio.
All right, Brian, a chase game break. Whoever wins this series gets the Los Angeles Dodgers in the NLCS. You'll see that exclusively here on TBS beginning Thursday night. And on Friday, our friends at Fox have game 1 of the ALCS, the Angels and the Yankees. They hit the air at 7:30. Back to you, Brian.
Ernie, it's Joe. I hope we don't keep you up till 2 a.m. this morning or tomorrow morning after this game's over, but I know you're used to staying up late anyway.
Never close.
Gamer.
We never.
Seth Smith with a runner at first. The Rockies, for the first time since the first inning, have their leadoff runner aboard. But one of 3 lefties in that starting lineup.
Oh, follow through dinged Ruiz. I think he had the helmet on. Again, command of the fastball to the corners. He is ultra sharp again tonight.
He surrendered just 3 hits. Lee with 3 strikeouts and 1 walk. Smith pops it up. Jimmy Rollins a long way to go. Ibanez will call him off, and the left fielder makes a catch for out number 1.
And he's not just flipping it up there to the corners. I mean, he's firing it at 92, 93. Got something on it, and then backing it up with that cutter. Mighty tough.
Cliff Lee, a 22-game winner last year for Cleveland, on his way to a Cy Young Award. 22 wins for the Indians, only 3 losses a season ago. A 2.54 earned run average. He became the first Indian to win 20 games since Gaylord Perry back in 1974. And look at the winning percentage the last 2 seasons. 36 wins, 16 losses. Daring any manager to leave him off another postseason roster.
Maybe a little something to prove. Just threw a cutter for that ground ball foul. He likes to back up the cutter to right-handers with a changeup. Let's see if that's what he comes back with. Another one. And he's old school too. He does not ice his arm after games. I don't know of anybody that doesn't do that anymore.
Tim Lincecum, the only other guy that comes to mind. Most pitchers, after they pitch, will immediately go to the ice. Got to get the area settled down and help the healing process. But not Cliff Lee. He strengthens his arm by throwing more. And that's what you mean by old school.
Yeah.
He long tosses, throws his bullpen sessions. He's a guy who likes to throw the baseball a lot. Something Nolan Ryan can appreciate.
And he works fast.
Easy to say, hard to do. Work fast, throw strikes.
Yeah.
Especially against big league lineups.
But when you got his kind of stuff, you can't wait to throw another pitch.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Barmas. And down he goes. Barmas having a rough postseason. Now 0 for 12. And 2 outs for Cliff Lee. That is strikeout number 4. Well, the Dodgers in the NLDS the last 2 seasons, about 6-0. They swept the Cubs last year, swept the Cardinals this year. That was a big surprise as the Dodgers get through Carpenter and Wainwright and Pinheiro. 3 big winners for Tony La Russa in St. Louis this season.
The other 3 division series.
Ubaldo Jimenez with a base hit. So it's the Rockies pitcher who comes up with a single.
How about that? Wasn't a bad hitter during the regular season. 13 hits, hit 220. Fights the fastball off. Drops it in front of Jason Worth, who had thoughts of going to first base, but decided against it.
Could be a big hit. It brings to the plate Colorado's hottest hitter, and the hottest hitter in the postseason at this point, Carlos Gonzalez.
With their struggles of hitting with runners in scoring position, he may be the right man in the right place, as hot as he is.
Gonzalez has been on base 11 times in this series. Has 9 hits, 8 of those hits against left-handed pitching. He had 2 hits against Cliff Lee in game 1 while batting out of the 2-hole. Homered here last night, part of a 3-hit game, in a game where he scored 3 runs. You get the idea.
And likes the fastball, as we said.
Off the end of the bat, Jason Wirtz settles under it, and Cliff Lee keeps mowing him down. The Rockies strand 2 base runners, their best threat since the first, but they come up empty, and it's still 1-0. Sun beginning to set here in Denver, 1-0 Phillies. And today's Power Performance is brought to you by the new movie Astro Boy, in theaters October 23rd. And you see the numbers this year, the RBI leaders in this postseason of 2009. Alex Rodriguez, that 3-game sweep of the Minnesota Twins with 6 RBIs. A couple of Phillies at the top of the list as well, with Ibanez driving in 5 runs. Ryan Howard with 4, including 2 last night.
And a big blow by Andre Ethier. I started to say a minute ago, Brian, that of all the sweeps in the other division series, the one that surprised me the most was the Dodgers sweeping the Cardinals. And I'm not taking anything away from LA and the fact that they're a good team and had the best record in the National League. I just didn't see anybody waltzing through those 3 starters you mentioned from the Cardinals. They're so good. But great work by LA.
And the Dodgers back in the League Championship Series, the 2nd consecutive year. A Philadelphia win tonight sets up a rematch of the NLCS from a year ago. Ryan Howard starts it. He's been on base twice. He reached on a fielder's choice in the 1st inning, and then he was intentionally walked in the 3rd. He's 0 for 1. Jimenez looks good, has 6 strikeouts, 8 straight retired. He had the bases loaded in the 3rd inning, then struck out Wirth and Ibanez to get out of a mess, and he has locked down the Phillies since.
Back-to-back sliders, good pitches. Got away with one there, and I think just taking off a little speed off that pitch helped. Howard was out in front of it. And he's out in front of it because of the fastball. Again, everything works off his mid to upper 90s fastball, and the hitters have got to respect that.
Little bouncer into the shift. Tulowitzki on the right side of the infield takes care of Howard. Now Jimenez coming off a career year, and you could call it perhaps the greatest year by a pitcher in Colorado Rockies franchise history. A 15-win season for Jimenez, which was a career high. 3.47 ERA, a career low. And a career high for innings pitched as well, 218. And when a strikeout pitcher like this logs that many innings, he's going to post big strikeout numbers, and a career high 198 strikeouts for Jimenez.
How about that last curveball? Right over the top, called strike, then comes back with 97 gas. It's all there.
Jason Wirth out in front. A pitch that is 20 miles per hour slower than his fastball.
Curveball, fastball, then another curveball. Outstanding.
And then a backbreaker for Wirth. The 1-2. Got a piece. It's impressive that Wirth can dial it up for a 97-mile-an-hour fastball after he just saw a 76-mile-an-hour curve. That one's hit well, deep right center field. Jason Worth has sent one out of here. Worth with his second home run in the postseason. An opposite field missile. And a 2-0 Philadelphia lead.
Remember earlier we talked about Jason Worth and how they were tying him up, but he likes the ball out away from him. And that curveball stayed up high and out over the plate. Again, great power the other way. And that's the way these Phillies are. You can make them look bad for most of an at bat, and then all of a sudden, bang, there's one going over the fence.
Jason Worth's 4th hit of the series. 2 homers and a triple at this point. That was a very well hit ball into deep right center. Worth had 36 home runs this season during the regular year. The Phillies as a team led by a long shot in home runs this season. 224 home runs as a ball club. The Rockies were second with 190.
Again, respecting the fastball, but able to stay back enough, kept his hands back and drove through that one.
Ibanez into left. Seth Smith eases back. That's out number 2.
Take another look at that swing and the flight of the baseball, and to one of the deepest parts in the visiting bullpen, out where Chase Utley hit his yesterday.
Both of Worth's home runs in this series have come to deep right center. He homered in game 2 of Rafael Betancourt. A bouncer to second. Varmus takes care of Feliz. The inning is over, but a pair of solo home runs has the Phillies on top 2-0 as we head to the home 6th.
The MLB Division Series on TBS is brought to you by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect combination of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. And by the Ford F-150, built Ford tough.
Well, Jason Worth has quieted down this large crowd at Coors Field. Over 50,000 watching this one. 2-0 Philadelphia as Worth battles a long at bat with Ubaldo Jimenez before delivering a home run to right center. And now Cliff Lee with a 2-run lead to work with. Dexter Fowler, Todd Helton, and Troy Tulowitzki. The Rockies desperately needing the middle of their order to come alive here against Lee. Colorado has had 2 good chances to score. They put 2 on to start the first inning and could not score a run. They had 2 on with 2 outs, and their hottest hitter at the plate, Carlos Gonzalez, last inning and could not score. Cliff Lee has been that good here tonight.
If you are going to try to get back in this game by starting to take big swings, trying to hit home runs, you're playing right into Cliff Lee's hand.
Little lazy fly ball to Worth.
And the reason I say that is his command of the fastball today. He's going to work the outside corner as he just did there to Dexter Fowler. And if you start taking big swings, you're not going to square up anything. How about this trade back in 2002, Brian? Montreal was making a push. They needed some pitching help. They traded for the Indians Bartolo Colon. And in that deal, the Indians got some pretty good players. They got Lee Stevens, who was a big league first baseman at the time. They also got Brandon Phillips, Grady Sizemore, and Cliff Lee.
Man, some big names in that trade. Hard to believe as you watch Cliff Lee this year and even last year in his Cy Young Award year. Hard to believe in 2007 he was sent to the minor leagues. He was not effective. Had an abdominal strain, struggled through an injury that season. We've talked about Lee being left off the postseason roster that year, but who would have thought he could have posted the numbers he did last year, and now that kind of pitching is becoming the norm for Cliff Lee. We talked to some of his pitching mates, they'll tell you that his delivery is so repeatable and flawless.
Yeah.
And that's why he commands his pitches so well. Not this time, however. He walks Todd Helton. It's the second walk issued by Lee.
Carlos Ruiz didn't think so. He was barking at Ron Culpa there, and Charlie Manuel wants to know where that pitch was.
Time for the Travelers mid-game recap. Shane Victorino with a home run in the first inning with one away. His first homer of this postseason gave the Phillies the early lead. And then after a long battle, Jason Worth hits one deep into the Philadelphia bullpen for his second homer of the postseason. The Travelers mid-game recap.
Here's that last pitch to Todd Helton. And you can understand why both Lee and Ruiz were upset. They thought they had a strike. With a break for Helton and the Rockies, and tying run to the plate.
Troy Tulowitzki. Tulowitzki against Cliff Lee in game one. Had 2 hits, an infield hit and an RBI double.
Went after that first pitch fastball from Lee and got to put a good swing on it, but a little late.
Tulowitzki had a big power year this year, 32 home runs, but it's even more impressive when you consider he went nearly a month without a home run the early part of the season in May and June. He went 77 at bats without a home run, and then caught fire right about the time Jim Tracy took over this club as the interim manager. As Tulowitzki sends that one into the gap, that is going to fall. It's going to go to the wall. Helton from first base trying to score. He'll be waved home. Here comes the throw from Rollins. The tag, not in time. Helton scores, and the Rockies are on the board.
This is what the Rockies needed to ignite this crowd. Good swing by Tulowitzki to the gap. Helton racing around the bases. A good relay here, but Rollins throws a little bit to the first base side of the plate. And that's all that Todd Helton needed. Second time in this series he scored from first on a double. Rockies with a tying run at second.
And Garrett Atkins lines one to third. It's going to be an easy double play. Tulowitzki breaking on the line drive. A costly mistake. And the inning is over.
Troy Tulowitzki came through with a clutch 1-out double to put the Rockies on the board, but then some bad base running. With 1 out, you're a runner at second. You got to make the ball go through. You got to freeze on that line drive. There's no place to go. With 1 out, if the ball gets by, you're going to score anyway. And he runs into a double play, and that hurts, especially as much trouble as the Rockies are having getting to Cliff Lee.
And every base runner counts, as Tulowitzki a little over aggressive on the base paths, and it cost the Rockies dearly. Instead of a runner at second and Torey Alba coming to the plate, ends up as an inning-ending double play. But the Rockies get a run, 2-1 Philadelphia as we head to the 7th. Tulowitzki with his second run-producing double against Cliff Lee in this series. Ubaldo Jimenez just about at the end of his pitch limit. It's not that he can't pitch all day, but he loses effectiveness once he gets over 100. And it's impressive that Jimenez still pitching here in the 7th inning. He threw a lot of pitches in the first 3 innings tonight.
Yeah, but he's settled in, and it's just the long balls that are the difference in the game.
Bullpen active for the Rockies as Ruiz takes a ball in the dirt.
He's been very good tonight, Brian. He gave up a home run to Victorino in the first inning. You tip your cap. It was a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, but the mistake he made was to Worth.
Little soft liner out to Barmes, and Ruiz retired for out number 1.
He'd made a couple of good pitches with his slider to Worth, and then hung one, left it out over the plate, and he hit it in the bullpen.
Jimenez, 108 pitches per start, second only to Justin Verlander this year. The most pitches he threw in a game this season, 127. That was against the Seattle Mariners, and that was way back in June. Now Jim Tracy will let him ride as long as he's pitching well and showing the good command. Bob Apodaca was telling us before the game today there's a couple of things that he watches, and certainly Tracy keeping a close eye on his ace as well. There's a mechanical move with Ubaldo Jimenez that once Apodaca sees that, it's time to raise the red flag.
Is that the one where he's falling back over the rubber, falling away from the plate as he's trying to deliver?
That's it. The Rockies pitching coach says, Ubaldo, there's nothing good that can happen behind the rubber. Stay tall and pitch downhill.
Well, remember too that when Jim Tracy took over this team, one of the mandates for him was that his starting pitchers needed to go deeper into ball games, and he preached to them, you got to give me 7. We got to take some load off the bullpen. We can't have everybody warming up in the 5th inning. And that helped.
Punches out Cliff Lee. Strikeout number 7 for Jimenez.
Backdoor breaking ball and a beauty. He is still very upright and over the pitching rubber, not falling back.
Two up, 2 down for Jimenez. And here's Jimmy Rollins, who is 0 for 3. Jimenez struck him out in the 5th. 2-1 Phillies on 2 solo home runs. Victorino and Worth. Oh, a good bender from Jimenez.
He's had a good slider. He just made the mistake to Worth for the home run on it. The only one I can remember him leaving up. He's due up 4th in the bottom of the inning. So with 2 out here and nobody on, you know Tracy's hoping he can get through this inning. Still throwing hard, just missed with that one. And working fast.
Full count. Jimenez in perhaps his final inning, trying to finish it with an exclamation point. 3-2 to Rollins. Look out in that Phillies dugout. An emergency hack from Rollins as he stays alive.
A little tardy.
Somewhere Bernie Carbo is smiling. Pitch number 120 on the way for Jimenez. Popped him up. That one's going to end up in the seats.
Well, if this is his last inning, and one would guess it is, he'd like to finish it with a flourish. That last pitch at 97. Going for the strikeout. Shakes off a couple of signs.
See what he has in mind for Rollins. The 3-2 on the way. And Rollins bangs one inside the line. That's a fair ball. Gonzalez comes up with it. It's a double for Jimmy Rollins. Well, just another terrific at bat. And Rollins extends the inning. A 2-out, 2-strike double for the Philadelphia shortstop.
That looked like a split that didn't do anything. 87 miles an hour that stayed in the middle of the plate. He's been making good pitches with it that were down literally in the dirt, not this one. And what a good swing by Jimmy Rollins. He didn't miss it. He hit a rocket down the line.
Bob Apodaca. A quick reminder and maybe a breather for Jimenez.
The Rockies just got back within a run, and he needed a shutdown inning and was close to doing it. But that's a big run for the Phillies out at second base if they can get him in.
Got the lefties coming up next with Utley and Howard, to switch hitter Victorino. And what could be Jimenez's final hitter. As Victorino jumps on the first pitch and pulls it foul.
He just jumped on that fastball today. The home run in the first, and that pitch was 97 in, and he turned on it.
He turned on one in the first inning to put the Phillies on the board. Chase Utley on deck. 2 outs with a runner at second. He snaps one on the back door for strike 2.
Got a good call there. Again, doesn't have to throw a strike here. And wasted it high.
Well, if he's trying to change the eye level.
Yeah. Well, fastball, then the big curveball for the called strike. That might have been off the plate a little bit, and then he came right back with the fastball, but too far out of the zone to get Victorino to even think about it.
The 1-2, Rollins takes off, and Victorino yanks one foul. And barking at himself to stay back. Boy, what a quick bat he has.
If he didn't have 2 strikes on him, he could easily have taken that pitch and let Rollins get to third, because he had a huge jump. Nobody even bird dogging him at second to try to hold him close. But Victorino had to swing because he's behind in the count.
Rollins is of no concern for Jimenez. Another 2-strike pitch, a bouncer back to the mound. Ubaldo is out of it. The Phillies strand a runner at second. And it's still 2-1 Philadelphia. The Rockies are coming up. A matchup of aces at hitter-friendly Coors Field, and it is a pitcher's duel. 2-1 Philadelphia. National League Division Series coverage on TBS is presented by BlackBerry. Seventh inning stretch here at Coors as we check in with David Aldridge. David?
Well, guys, as we get toward the later innings, we're wondering about the status of the Phillies reliever Scott Air. You remember last night, he came into the game and faced a batter and had to field a hit right in front of him. He collapsed with his ankle rolling on him and wasn't able to continue. He is their main left-hander reliever. You know, Charlie Manuel has a young pitcher, Antonio Bastardo, but he does not want to use him in late game situations. So Scott Air is the guy that he wants to bring in to look after a Todd Helton or maybe a Jason Giambi or Ian Stewart off the bench, those good left-handed hitters that Colorado has. Charlie Manuel, about an hour before the game, said that Air is ready to go. He worked out with the team's trainers before the game, looked like he was ready to go. He's confident he can get him in the game and make a pitch to a key batter late in this game if he needs him, guys.
All right, David, thank you. Scott Air just says, just add one more ailment to the list, right?
Yeah. Well, and you just can't imagine that he's going to be anywhere close to 100% after you look at that injury. And that would be a huge blow to the Phillies if they do lose him for any extended period of time. But how about Cliff Lee? Complete game win in game 1. And today just giving up 5 hits through 6 innings, gave up the run in the 6th. I know they'll keep a close eye on him here in the 7th. But he has been sharp as a tack again.
Well, you talk about lefties that Charlie Manuel has available and would like to see. This is the lefty he wants to see continue. And he'll certainly allow him to finish this game if he continues to shut down the Rockies. Colorado able to score a run in the 6th. Remember, the base running mistake by Tulowitzki led to a double play that ended the inning.
And that started with a walk. And one of only 2 he's allowed in his 15 innings so far in this division series.
Bottom of the 7th. Yorvi Torrealba will lead off. 6, 7, and 8 in the batting order due up for Colorado as Cliff Lee hits the bull. Making his first ever appearance at Coors Field in Denver.
And I'm sure asking Carlos Ruiz to jump a little higher next time for that one.
Carlos not the tallest guy in the world.
Does a solid job back there behind the plate, though, for all of these Phillies starters. Good target, good low target for Lee.
Off the end of the bat. Took a little off. And Lee quickly to a ball and 2 strikes on Yorvi Torrealba. Lee in his complete game in game 1. First pitch strikes. 25 out of 32 batters he faced in those 9 innings. Hasn't gotten ahead of hitters at that rate here tonight, but he is still pitching well and pitching ahead in the count.
Well, keep in mind, too, Brian, he had a 5-run lead for a lot of that game to work with. 5-0, so he could be more aggressive early in the count. Tonight, right now, working with a 2-1 lead, so he's got to be maybe a little more careful on that first pitch and not develop any set patterns for these guys.
1-2 to Torrealba, and he lines that one foul. Just got out in front of it. Lee has surrendered 5 hits. He's given up 2 walks, 4 strikeouts at this point. And as Joe mentioned, 15 postseason innings in 2009. They don't give away MVPs for the divisional series, but if he finishes this one off, he would be the guy.
Unofficially, yeah. He or Jason Worth, the way Worth's been pounding the ball.
It was Wirt's home run in the 6th inning that gave the Phillies a 2-0 lead.
A little cat and mouse game going on here. Lee wants to work quickly and Torrealba wants to get set.
Not a bad idea. Who would know that better than the Rockies catcher and how it affects pitchers?
And maybe it's effective. Ruiz jumped up limping a little bit. Not sure if he was down in that real low target. Well, not quite as low, but with 2 strikes, just in case the hitter swings, he's got to be ready to knock that ball down.
2-2. And down goes Torrealba. Cliff Lee burns off the inside edge. And Torrealba's got to be careful here. He doesn't get tossed. You can almost sense Torrealba saying, all right, if you're going to call that on me, you better give it to my pitcher next inning.
Good call. I don't know if Torrealba thought this was low or in, but it was a good pitch. Certainly too close to take when you're behind in the count. Gave up on that pitch too soon.
5th strikeout for Cliff Lee. Well, he commands that inside corner on a right-handed batter about as well as anyone. Smith serves one into left. Ibanez lost it in the lights. Smith on his way to second. The throw is going to be late. A break for the Rockies. Ibanez lost that in the lights, or perhaps the white hankies. And a la Matt Holliday of the Cardinals, it goes right off his glove.
Well, that one got a 2-out rally started. This one may get a 1-out rally going for the Rockies. Pretty obvious that Ibanez was tracking this, and then all of a sudden just tried to reach for it and hope the ball found his glove. It didn't. And Raul angry because it's a ball he would normally catch were it not for the lights.
That's an error, a 2-base error, the first error of this series for the Phillies. And now the tying run is at second for Clint Barmes.
And again, hitting with runners in scoring position has crushed the Rockies. 0 for 5 today, 5 for 28 in the series.
Now Barmes could make the disappointment of an 0 for 12 postseason at the plate disappear with one swing of the bat right here.
Barmes had a good at bat his first time up when he lined to center. There are those numbers again for Colorado. Needing a big hit.
Barmes, fly ball in the left center. Victorino will haul it in for the out. And Lee got to the end of his bat for out number 2. He just continues to make big pitches in tough spots. So 2 outs. Ubaldo Jimenez scheduled to hit. Tracy pulls him back. And here comes Ryan Spilborghs. And that means a meeting at the mound from Rich Doobie, the Phillies pitching coach, for a scouting report. Spilborghs, .241 hitter during the regular year. Started back-to-back games in this postseason. Started games 2 and 3 in right field.
Had a base hit last night. Also lined out one at bat.
So Jimenez is out. 7 innings. He pitched well. But at this point, Cliff Lee has been slightly better. 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs on 2 solo homers as Spilborghs chases the first one.
He's a high ball hitter, likes the ball out away from him, and if you can elevate something about letter high, that's his danger zone. He likes it there.
Cliff Lee stays away. After controlling the inner half against right-handed hitters most of this game, Lee goes to plan B against Spilborghs.
And got him to chase something down and away, something that Ryan will also do. 0-2. Let's see how they work it.
Tying run at second for the Rockies.
See if they can get him to chase.
And a fastball just missed up and away. But throws it right where he wanted to.
Just the old tantalizer right there, and Spilborghs with a good eye able to lay off.
The Rockies have had some chances. They did score a run last inning. But that's been it against Cliff Lee. Spilborghs pops it up. And for the 3rd straight inning, Cliff Lee strands a runner in scoring position. The Rockies cannot score. It's still 2-1 Philadelphia as we head to the 8th. December on TNT. See what it means to be men of a certain age. Don't miss Ray Romano in the new series premiere December 7th at 10, 9 Central only on TNT. The Phillies lead it 2-1 behind their ace, Cliff Lee, who is through 7 innings. The Rockies have had some chances in the last 3 innings. Lee stranded 2 in the 5th, did give up a run in the 6th inning, but left a runner on base on a double play that ended the frame, and then strands a runner at second base in the 7th. And here we go to the 8th, and the hard-throwing left-hander Franklin Morales.
Brian, he's been outstanding in this division series for Jim Tracy. He's been in every game. He has retired every batter he's faced. That's 6. One of those hit into a double play, so he's recorded 7 outs. And he's going to be asked to pitch to the heart of the Phillies order. 2 lefties to start it, Utley and Howard. But he has been outstanding, Mr. Morales.
Ubaldo Jimenez goes 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, pitches well, but finds his club a run down as we head to the 8th. Utley is 0 for 7 against Morales in his career. Morales wants to be a starting pitcher and will probably end up in that role. He's going to start in winter ball after the season is over. The Rockies have some starters coming back. Jeff Francis, who has been their ace and was a big part of their 07 run, is set to return next year. Colorado lost Jorge De La Rosa, a 16-game winner, to a groin injury. It's possible he could return for the league championship series if the Rockies can advance. And for now, Morales is a late left-handed specialist in Jim Tracy's bullpen.
Well, De La Rosa's loss was a big one for the Rockies too. He would have pitched last night. And with all due respect to Hamill, De La Rosa was very, very good at the end of the year. Yeah, but they've got a lot of starting pitching depth from which to work when they look ahead.
Well, they had 5 pitchers in double-digit wins this season. De La Rosa led the way with 16. He's not even on the postseason roster for this first round. He can be added in the league championship series. And the Rockies would love to find out if he can pitch against the Dodgers.
One thing that Morales has been in his outings has been aggressive, especially attacking the left-handed hitters and getting ahead in the count, getting them to chase that big sweeping curveball. But all of a sudden he's 3-1 on Utley, and he's got to throw a strike.
Three balls and a strike on Utley, and a strike on the corner. 96 miles an hour from Morales. 3-2.
Check out the location of this 3-1 offering. You're going to win a lot. You're going to get a lot of outs being hit that spot.
A key batter to start this inning for Morales, with the dangerous Ryan Howard on deck. Lost him. Utley draws the walk. A big walk for the Phillies, and a chance to add to their lead. Leadoff base runner for Philadelphia, with Howard coming up. And like Utley, Ryan Howard is hitless against Morales. Small sample size.
Well, let's see how Ryan approaches this after Morales fell behind 3-1. Maybe a little control problem today, this being his 4th game and back-to-back games here at Colorado. See if he decides to work the count a little bit and get it in his favor. And Torrealba, a quick reminder, perhaps of, among other things, that they cannot afford to give up any more runs this late in the ball game. Their defense has been good, and you got to trust them to help you out. But you can't get any help if you walk people.
Right-hander is Rafael Betancourt, another hard thrower. Joe Beimel, the left-hander. Beimel probably up for Ibanez.
It's a nice slider he threw Todd Helton.
Utley takes off. Howard bounces one foul. Utley had a perfect stolen base percentage this year. 23 for 23 this season.
I liked his approach, though. So many times when a pitcher throws to first and almost throws a ball away, he's reluctant to go over there on the next pitch. That might have been something Utley was thinking about when he got a huge jump.
Ball and a strike on Howard. Utley stays put. Howard fouls it away.
Science of stealing here. We were talking about the time to the plate. If you can outrun the throw to the plate and then the throw down to second base, if your time to second is less than 3.8 seconds, you got a good chance of swiping it. And that's the science that Davey Lopes employs when he keeps track of all the times with a pitcher throwing to the plate and with a catcher's throw to second. That's how they work it.
That was a steal by Utley in game one. Simple math for Davey Lopes. 1-2. Utley takes off and nobody covers as Utley steals second base.
Wow.
Boy, that is a big stolen base. It might send the Rockies into intentional walk mode, but a big insurance run now in scoring position.
And that had to be Tulowitzki covering because Barmes was playing so far over for Howard in case he pulled the ball. So I don't know if they just weren't together on who was supposed to cover or if they weren't worried about the steal. But in any case, Torrealba was ready to throw and no one was there.
Utley had a stolen base in the opener. Was not caught all season. And a big stolen base here, and it forces the hand of the Rockies a little bit. There is a base open at first. You're talking about one of the best run producers in the game at the plate. But Morales, a lefty-lefty matchup, and he has him with 2 strikes.
Tough for Howard here, but he wants to pull the ball if he can.
2-1 Phillies. And Howard takes a called strike 3. Morales, a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. 1 gone.
Last inning, Yorvi Torrealba barked at Ron Kulpa saying, hey, you got to give my pitcher that pitch. He didn't like the call, but he argued for it, and now he gets it back.
In the exact same spot. That's a catcher thinking ahead. Well, now Worth will be walked. A left-hander is on deck, Raul Ibanez. And Jim Tracy will play the matchup here. Boy, that's a good call, Joe. You know Torrealba's thinking about it. He argued for a moment with Culpa, but into the argument, you can almost read his lips by saying, you give my pitcher that next time.
Yeah, he was nodding his head like, okay, but you got to give it to me too, from my guy.
And Culpa responded with, I will.
And he did.
And he did. Smart. So Worth intentionally walked. Here's the called strike 3 on Torrealba. Look at that pitch. Almost in the same spot. Torrealba barks. Boom. Right there.
And his debate paid off.
And now he's got a new best friend.
I knew you would.
I always thought you were a good umpire, Ron.
I knew you wouldn't forget.
Well, here's a spot. 2 on. Ibanez at the plate with 5 runs batted in this postseason. Only A-Rod with more RBIs in the divisional series. Ibanez has had a rough night. Jimenez struck him out first 2 times up. He flew out to left his last time up. Two right-handers await for the Phillies. Feliz is on deck. Ruiz down in the hold. Likely to be Morales, final hitter. A double play ends the inning. The base hit scores a run. And a fastball, a hummer in there. 96 from Morales. It's 2-1 on Ibanez.
And Raul Ibanez hits lefties pretty well. In fact, during the regular season, his numbers against lefties were better than against right-handers. At .285 against lefties. There was that pitch. Didn't get it that time. And for Ibanez, that's a pitch he's not going to be able to do a whole lot with anyway, Brian. Didn't offer and got the call.
Had some good success this year against left-handers, did Ibanez. Going to keep an eye on Utley at second. A threat to try to steal third. And Morales thinking the same thing. Morales has a big leg kick. You can almost tell Utley wanted to run on the last pitch.
And as a result, Tulowitzki started creeping closer, and what that did was pull Tulowitzki to the bag and create a big opening on the left side of the infield for Ibanez if he goes the other way.
Big pitch coming for Morales, the 3-1. Ibanez lays off. The bases are loaded. Boy, he's had some great at-bats, Raul Ibanez. And that walk is going to send Jim Tracy to the mound and a call to the bullpen.
Ibanez walked 3 times last night, and he lays off these pitches away from him from this tough left-hander and loads him up.
We will take a timeout. The season might be on the line for the Rockies. Pedro Feliz will hit when we come back. Two to 1 Philadelphia, but they are threatening here in the 8th inning with the bases loaded and just 1 out. You can visit TBS Hot Corner at MLB.com/TBS Hot Corner to sign up and watch live companion coverage of this game and every Major League Baseball postseason game. TBS Hot Corner. Well, it is Betancourt on the pitch. Hard-throwing right-hander. Appearing once again out of the bullpen. He pitched an inning last night, struck out the side.
Struck out the side, but he was in some trouble. He walked Ibanez and then gave up a little one-handed double down the left field line that put him in trouble.
It'll be his 3rd straight appearance in this LDS. Betancourt yesterday with strikeouts on Worth and Ruiz, and then he punched out Matt Stairs, the pinch hitter, with 2 on.
And left runners at second and third.
That kept a 5-5 game intact at the time. The Phillies would then score in the 9th. Ryan Howard sacrifice fly proved to be the game winner in a 6-5 Philadelphia win.
But the season might be on the line right here for the Rockies. They can ill afford to give up any more runs. Bases loaded, 1 out. They were able to get out of a bases loaded 1 out jam in the 3rd without any runs scoring when Jimenez struck out Worth and Ibanez.
Pedro Feliz for the Phillies. And he lifts one. Foul territory. Tulowitzki makes a catch. A huge out for Betancourt on the first pitch. The runners cannot advance. And now Betancourt with light at the end of the tunnel to get the Rockies back to the dugout.
One of the things that's really been you could highlight about this series for the Phillies has been their patience and their willingness to work the count, especially when they had the Rockies on the ropes or had their pitchers in trouble. But that was not a case of patience there from Feliz.
And here is Carlos Ruiz. He has been a Rockies nemesis in this series. Drove in a pair last night on 2 singles. Had a hit earlier in this game, an infield hit back in the second. Ruiz not a guy who walks much nor strikes out much. So the defense has to be ready. It's likely to put the ball in play. Ruiz hit a little soft liner his last time up. 1 for 3 in this game. The Rockies will have the top of the order in the bottom of the 8th. Betancourt trying to get him there, only down a run.
Fastball in the low 90s and a good slider that you see right here. Beauty. As you have said, Brian, Ruiz, though, a very good clutch hitter at the bottom of their order, and a good fastball hitter if Betancourt makes a mistake with it.
Utley on his toes at third. And a little bouncer. Tulowitzki ranging over, picks up the short hop, makes the play. And Betancourt gets out of it. The Phillies strand the bases loaded for the 2nd time tonight. Now the Rockies will send the top of their order.
Well, this is vintage Cliff Lee. After the bases were loaded and the Phillies didn't score, they clear the field, and who's the first guy on the field and the only guy on the field? Cliff Lee. Nobody out there. Paul Bacco had to hustle out in case he was ready to start warming up. Here comes Shane Victorino. Here comes the phantom pitch to second, and now he's ready to go to work.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. Cliff Lee, the Philadelphia starter, 7 strong tonight. He surrendered just the 1 earned run. That came in the 6th on a Tulowitzki double. If anybody gets on, he'll deal with Tulowitzki again, as he sends one high and tight on Carlos Gonzalez. And with Lee's impeccable command, that one had plenty of purpose to it.
Well, he's been a good fastball hitter, a hot hitter in this series, and Cliff Lee, remember, he threw a couple to the backstop last inning when he first started an inning. Had one get away from him, and it might serve a good purpose.
Right back on the corner for a strike. Well, the big question right now, if the Phillies still lead after this half inning, who pitches for Charlie Manuel? Is it Brad Lidge or is it Ryan Madson?
Well, the first guy up in their pen right now is Madson.
Another one high and tight. There's Madson.
How many pitches did he throw in the first game? Is it 113?
113 in his complete game.
He's at 108 right now.
Gonzalez, Fowler, and Helton. Top 3 in the Rockies batting order. Boy, after every high and tight fastball, Cliff Lee dots the outside corner with a strike.
Well, he's hit that spot all night, whether it's left-handed or right-handed, doesn't matter. Right at Ruiz's target, at the knees.
See what he does with him here, blowing on the hands.
Now, the sun going down, the temperatures dropped, the wind's gotten up a little bit, blowing in from right center field. So maybe a little difficulty with the grip.
Pitchers always fighting for moisture on their fingers in the Mile High City. The 2-2. Gonzalez hangs in there and fouls it away. Well, he's been something else, Carlos Gonzalez. 23 years of age, out of Venezuela. He came to the Rockies from the Oakland Athletics. He was part of that Matt Holliday trade this offseason.
He wasn't going to give up on that last pitch down and away again. And as a result, they come in on him and he fought it off. Pretty good defense.
That one's hit well, deep left center field. Ibanez near the track, runs it down for the out.
Wynn may have knocked that one down a little.
Well, Cliff Lee, a complete game in game 1, and he is dialed up once again. What a postseason performer he has been. Only a second career playoff start. Cliff Lee has just surrendered the 1 run on 5 hits. He has 5 strikeouts and a couple of walks. And he is just 5 outs away from sending the Phillies to the National League Championship Series as Dexter Fowler takes a ball.
His first 2 guys this inning with the good speed, and Gonzalez and Fowler. So important to keep them off the bases if you're Cliff Lee, because of their ability to score on a double from first if they get on. But hey, Todd Helton did that tonight as well. Dexter had a real good swing in the first inning when he went the other way. And he's got the count in his favor here.
3-0. Fowler might as well be holding a plastic bat at this point. 3-0. Trying to get on base for Helton, who will hit next. And Tulowitzki, who will follow. And he walks. Cliff Lee issues the walk, his 3rd. Fowler is aboard. A fast runner is on, representing the tying run. And again, just like last night, Joe, the Rockies are right where they want to be in their batting order when it counts. Yesterday, the Rockies down a run in the 9th inning had Helton and Tulowitzki ready to hit with a runner in scoring position. Helton walked. Tulowitzki popped up to end the game.
I kind of like that meeting there on the mound with Utley and Howard coming in. They've still got their sunglasses just in case. And this crowd of 49,940 on their feet and ready.
And Lee starts him with a strike. No, Helton against Cliff Lee tonight has been on base twice. He walked and scored the lone Rockies run in the 6th inning. As twice has hit the ball on the ground. He reached on a fielder's choice, then had a ground out. He's 0 for 2. And a bouncer towards second. Utley, as Fowler jumps over him, Rollins can't handle the throw. Dexter Fowler just jumped over Chase Utley. Everybody's safe. An incredible athletic move by Dexter Fowler, as if he's running the high hurdles of Chase Utley.
Charlie Manuel may want to know if there was some interference caused by the runner. Tim Timmons shaking his head no. The runner has to make way for the fielder. He cannot run over the fielder. And in this case, Dexter Fowler went over him, didn't run over him, just leapfrogged him.
Oh, man.
And that backhanded toss, a little off the mark. I never touched him.
And that is going to go as an error on Rollins. That is something else right there.
That's a high hurdling move by Dexter Fowler. And Charlie Manuel, while he's out there talking to home plate umpire Ron Culp, was going to make what I believe is a double switch, but that's going to do it for Cliff Lee.
So Cliff Lee taken out with 1 out in the 8th, 2 on. And here comes Matson. We take a break. The Rockies with the fire burning hot. They have 2 on and 1 away, and Tulowitzki coming up. Two to 1, the Phillies lead the Rockies. And this one is getting very good as Dexter Fowler, look at this move. He jumps over Chase Utley, and a hot backhanded toss, unable to be handled by Rollins. The error belongs to Rollins. The athletic move of the night belongs to Fowler.
Utley did everything he was supposed to do. In fact, he made the play to get in the way of the runner, knowing he had to go around him. That was going to give Chase some options to either tag the runner if he went by, freeze him and go to first and get him in a rundown. He just never anticipated the runner jumping over him.
Ben Francisco in the game in left field. This will be a double switch for Charlie Manuel. So as Cliff Lee is taken out, Francisco put in the 9 spot. He'll lead off in the 9th inning for Philadelphia. Meanwhile, Ryan Madson gets the call, not Brad Lidge. Charlie Manuel told us earlier if he needed an inning plus from someone at the end of the game, it would be Madson and not Lidge. 7 1/3 for Lee, but 2 runners on base, his responsibility. And Colorado sending up their best power hitter in Troy Tulowitzki.
He made the pitch he needed, Brian. He got the jam shot on Helton, got the ground ball that might have started a double play, but it didn't turn into a double play. Instead, the second error of the night on the Phillies.
The Rockies, plenty of comebacks this year. 3rd most in the National League. Tulowitzki doubled in a run in the 6th, the only RBI produced by the Rockies.
Remember last night it was Tulowitzki against Madsen. He just missed a changeup from Madsen that he wanted back. Wound up being a sacrifice fly. Great speed at second, representing the tying run. And just average speed nowadays for Todd Helton, if not a little below average after his back surgery. But did score from first on a double already tonight. Here we go again. Can they get a big hit?
0 for 7 tonight for the Rockies. Tulowitzki got jammed, a little fly ball. Francisco coming in, he lays out and he makes the catch. What a play by Francisco. An incredible catch for out number 2.
He's getting cheers from Victorino and everybody in the Phillies dugout. What a time for a defensive change. There's no way Raul Ibanez gets to this ball. No way. And Francisco lays out and makes a spectacular catch at a crucial time for the Phillies.
Oh, and how risky is that dive? If that gets by them, the Rockies are going to take the lead.
He almost made a mistake here, though, throwing all the way across the diamond toward first, thinking he might get a double play.
That's Raul Ibanez. Says he's glad Francisco's out there. Francisco came to the Phillies with Cliff Lee in that trade with the Indians, and might have just made a catch that could send Philadelphia to the league championship series.
Brian, it's so hard to come off the bench cold and be loose and get a good read and a good break and make that kind of play. That was really special.
And right away, too, the double switch was made. The first batter that Francisco deals with, and he makes this catch.
Wasn't hit hard. Tulowitzki fought it off. A tough ball to read off the bat. But just a huge play for the Phillies.
2 outs. Here's Jason Giambi. Jim Tracy's going to take a shot at it right here. Giambi pinch hitting for Garrett Atkins. And Giambi gets sawed off. That's going to fall. A base hit. Here comes Fowler. Francisco's throw is cut off. We're tied.
Giambi didn't waste any time. They did try to pitch him in. He fought it off. and found a nice place for it out there in front of Francisco where he couldn't make a diving catch. And the Rockies finally have a hit tonight with a runner in scoring position, and it ties the game.
Giambi with 2 game-winning pinch hits during the regular year. Comes up with a game tire here in the 8th. Now the go-ahead run in scoring position for Jorvi Torrealba. Two below-average runners for the Rockies. And all 3 Philadelphia outfielders with above-average arms. And that one's driven into right center field. Victorino is on the run, still on the run, can't get it. It's off the wall. Helton scores. Giambi scores. And the Rockies have taken the lead. Mr. Rocktober comes through again for the Rockies.
Last night, Jim Tracy put Torrealba in the 5th spot, hoping he would get a chance to drive in some runs, and he was over swinging. Moved him to the 6th spot tonight, and what a huge hit. And he really peppered it into right center. And to say that he was fired up is an understatement.
Lee now on the hook for the loss. The Rockies have scored 3 runs, and all of them coming with 2 outs.
The error plays a huge role in what looked like might be the start of a double play. The bad flip by Utley to Rollins turned this into a big inning.
Giambi had the hit that tied it, a pinch hit single that scored Fowler. Torrealba drives in a pair with a double. It was Torrealba who hit a 2-run homer in game 2 that led to the win.
Shane Victorino was shading him a little bit over toward left center field. He had a long way to go, and even with his speed couldn't track it down. And then the race was on, and everybody waving home Giambi from first.
2 on, still 2 outs, and still big questions for the Philadelphia bullpen as Barmes yanks one foul. Well, the Phillies thought they crossed over a big hurdle last night when Lidge saved the game. Charlie Manuel goes with Madsen to get out of the jam. And he's given up 2 hits and a walk. 4-2 Colorado in the bottom of the 8th. Barmes chases that slider.
And now if you're the Phillies, your 2 runs have come tonight on home runs. And you think back to bases loaded, 1 out in the 3rd, didn't score. Bases loaded, 1 out in the 8th on 3 walks and didn't score.
Oh, 2 to Barmes. And now it gets by Ruiz. Both runners will advance. Torrealba to 3rd, Seth Smith to 2nd. And now a base hit will deliver 2 more for Colorado.
That wasn't even close. Like a changeup that he was trying to turn over a little bit and off the shin guard of Ruiz.
One and 2 to Barmes. They'll ask if he went, and the appeal, Angel Hernandez says he checked it. Barmes is without a hit in his postseason. A base hit here gives the Rockies a 4-run lead. And Barmes stays alive. Jim Tracy has his closer, Houston Street, loosening in the bullpen. Street took the loss last night.
Yeah, it was not sharp.
does have a save in this series. He saved game 2.
Good swing there by Barmas just to stay alive. He's looking for his first hit of the series. Could be a big one right here.
Gets jammed, a little roller to Feliz. And the side retired, but the Colorado Rockies come off the deck. 3 runs with 2 outs. And who else? Yorvi Torrealba drives in a pair with a double. And Colorado is 3 outs away from forcing a Game 5. Well, regular season Yorvi Torrealba is known as a defensive catcher. Doesn't offer much offense, handles the pitching staff. But postseason Yorvi Torrealba is a completely different story. As he delivers once again, Torrealba had the 2-run home run in game 2 and a monster 2 RBI double to right center field that gives Colorado the lead as we head to the 9th. Ian Stewart will take over at third base. Giambi hit for Atkins. It was Giambi who tied the game with a single. Houston Street takes over on the mound as the Rockies are 3 outs away from forcing a Game 5 and sending this series back to Philadelphia.
Yorvi Torrealba's got to shift gears from hitting hero to receiver right now and work Houston Street through this 9th inning.
Instead of Francisco, it's going to be Greg Dobbs off the bench. The Phillies need a base runner. There's a way to the finish line for Houston Street without having to face Utley or Howard, but he needs to retire the side in order to do that.
Good sinking fastball, excellent changeup. That was the change last night. When he got in trouble in the 9th inning, he got ahead of Jimmy Rollins and then started trying to be too careful and missed with some pitches. And Rollins worked the count full and led off the 9th inning with a single, which led to the winning run.
Street entered the game in a 5-5 tie. Howard with the sac fly. Suffered his first loss of the postseason this year. He collected a save in game 2, but it was a shaky one, as Joe mentioned. And a hit and a walk. But he got Victorino on a little soft pop-up to end it. And that evened the series at 1 apiece. The 0-2 to Dobbs. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Nothing wrong with the velocity on his fastball. It's low 90s, the last one at 92. But he relies on good movement, good sinking action, and then the changeup. The changeup's a beauty. Looks like it's coming right here.
Got him.
A much better start to his 9th inning tonight. Great sinking action. Out of the zone, but at a great spot right there to the back point of the home plate, and Dobbs over the top of it.
To the top of the order now, Houston Street facing Jimmy Rollins. And starts him with strike 1. Rollins doubled in the 7th, has a hit in every game in this NLDS, but just 1 hit in each of the first 4 games. It was his hit last night against Houston Street that led to the winning run. 0-2 the count.
94 on that one. Houston Street is pumped up. Let's see how aggressive he is on Rollins, something he wasn't last night.
The 0-2. Upstairs, Rollins lays off. Houston Street trying to change that eye level. See if he comes back with a changeup against the lefty.
Rollins was very patient last night, laying off pitches off the plate. But I don't think Street was as sharp last night as he is tonight.
Here comes a changeup. The 1-2. Rollins lays off. Street put it in a good spot. Same spot that got him a strikeout on Dobbs.
Watch his arm action. It's a little bit lower. Ball comes out of his hand like he turns it over a little bit on the changeup, but couldn't get Rollins to chase. And got away with one there.
Well, if there is a game 5 and the Rockies are 2 outs away now, it'll be Aaron Cook. He was the winner in game 2 against Cole Hamels. Cook beat Hamels in game 2 in Philadelphia. Hamels watching this game with us tonight. He's back in Philadelphia after the birth of his first child on Friday. Two balls, 2 strikes on Rollins. And a bouncer diving as Barmes to his feet. No chance with the speedy Rollins. A 1-out infield hit.
Almost an instant replay of last night's base hit by Rollins. Last night it got through, but another good at bat by Jimmy Rollins, his second hit of the game. Even though he fell behind in the count, 0-2. And now he will have to do some tiptoeing through the upper part of the batting order for the Phillies. Victorino already with a home run tonight.
Well, power everywhere on this Philadelphia batting order. The tying run is at the plate. Victorino homered in the first. And a strike. Sinks one on the outside corner, and it's 0-1 on Victorino. Victorino also a fast runner. He's a tough man to double up.
Big hole for him to work with on the right side if he can pull the ball.
There's a bouncer. It's over the head of Street. Barmes is there. He flips to Tulowitzki, and they get the lead out at second. So Rollins retired. Victorino safe at first. 2 gone in the inning.
Good heads-up play here by Barmes, who might have gotten too greedy thinking about getting Rollins with a tag. But he gets the lead runner. He gets 1 out, and now they only have 1 to get. But Utley's the hitter.
What a series this has been. 2 evenly matched teams. 2 of the top run-producing teams in the National League this year during the regular season. We talked about runners in scoring position in our open tonight. The Phillies had the advantage in that category. The Rockies come up big with 2 outs. A couple of hits, one by Giambi and one by Torrealba to put them on top in the 8th when they needed it most.
Well, and they finally got the hits with runners in scoring position, and that was the difference for him in the 8th. Utley had a base hit off Street last night. It set up the sacrifice fly by Howard.
Utley homered last night in the first inning. As Victorino takes off. They were not holding Victorino on. Helton does not want to give up that hole at first base, and that'll be defensive indifference.
I'm not sure that Todd Helton's concerned about the hole right now, Brian. He's almost camped on the line, trying to take away an extra base hit. Rockies don't care about Victorino, as you said. The guy they worry the most about is the potential tying run, which is at the plate. Outfield deep, that give up a single, trying to prevent doubles.
Utley belted 31 home runs this year. 2-0. Street Blue just 2 saves all season. One of the best save percentages in the National League. 35 out of 37. Spent a couple of weeks on the disabled list in the final month of the year. Biceps tendonitis, but has come back strong. Pitched some big games at the end of the season. Well-placed fastball, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, nothing Utley could do with that one. That was perfect. Low and away, and Chase has got a very small strike zone right now. ahead in the count, he can afford to take that pitch and look for something that he can drive. He likes the ball down, very quick in the middle end.
Something we saw from Houston Street in game 2. Normally he's a pitcher that works fast, but being very deliberate tonight, just like he was in game 2. 2 balls and a strike on Utley. Tying run at the plate. 2-2.
That's back-to-back sinkers that were just perfectly placed, running away from him. And Utley can't get out around that pitch, something he would like to do to try to drive it out of here, but not on that pitch, not running away from him. Great pitches by Houston Street. And he's back even in the count, and maybe the time for the changeup. And there's the Phillies, who have been so good in this situation, with an offer working tonight with runners in scoring position.
Oh, just missed. Close pitch. And the count goes full.
Been working away, but this one a little bit too far. Good try. Not going to get that one, a little too far off the plate.
Chase Utley's got to know he's going to get a good pitch to handle here. Ryan Howard is on deck. Street does not want to bring the go-ahead run to the plate.
He's got to know, too, that everything's been away. They've not come in on him at all. Torrealba to the plate to talk about it. Chase is so quick and short on his swing inside, Brian, that you would guess that he almost has to be looking middle away because of the sinker, and then adjust to it if it does come in. Take a lot of guts from Houston Street and Torrealba to challenge him inside.
Well, the Rockies scored 3 in the 8th, sending Street to the mound with a chance at a save.
One thing he doesn't want to do is start that sinker in and have it come back to the middle of the plate.
Full count, 2 outs. Lost him. Utley walks. And now it's game on for the Phillies. Their best run producer coming to the plate. Ryan Howard steps up, representing the go-ahead run.
Like a backdoor slider attempt, didn't it? That wasn't close. That's his 3rd best pitch. He's made good pitches behind in the count with the fastball. No, it was not a slider. It was a fastball. In fact, it was a changeup. He took something off and missed badly with it. That's why I thought it was a breaking ball, because it was a change of speeds.
No, we showed you the come from behind wins for the Rockies. They were behind the Phillies in that category this year. Charlie Manuel will tell you, unfortunately, he had to do a lot of blown saves this season. They were forced to come back from, but nobody did it better than the Phillies in 2009. So many weapons offensively, and they are right in the middle of their wheelhouse. Street faces Howard.
Saw Rich Doobie talking to Charlie Manuel in the dugout. They're looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th in case Howard drives one here and ties it up, or hits one out and puts him on top.
Howard's driven in 4 runs in this NLDS.
Last night on the sacrifice fly, he got a pitch that was down and a little bit in, that he was just trying to stay on. You might remember he talked to David Aldridge after the game and said he was just trying to get something to hit to the outfield, to drive to the outfield, to put the Phillies on top. That had a lot of the plate, and he hit it deep. Got great power the other way. And Houston Street's got to be careful even if he goes down and away.
He struggled with his changeup. That's his best pitch. And his out pitch against the lefty. Torrealba setting up inside. And maybe playing possum as Street checks on Victorino. The Phillies very fast on the bases right now with Victorino and Utley. Utley representing the tying run. The Rockies outfielders might as well be standing on the warning track as deep as they are.
Here's some more of that patience exercised by the Phillies. The great at bat by Rollins, even though he got behind in the count, he gets a pitch he can handle and gets a base hit. Utley coaxes a walk, and now Howard laying off a couple of pitches has the count in his favor.
Howard sends one to right. On the run is Gonzalez, and he cannot get there. It bounces off the wall. Can Utley score? Victorino's in front of him. The throw to the plate. Utley scores, and the Phillies have tied it. Ryan Howard delivers. A 2 RBI double, and the Phillies come off the deck to tie it up in the ninth.
Ryan Howard again for the Phillies. Something happened at third base, Brian, and I don't know what happened, but when Victorino got to third, he either slipped or missed the bag because Chase Utley was right behind him. That was a ball that had a lot of the plate again, and in a way, Houston Street's lucky that ball didn't sail into the seats. He's watching the play, and Victorino went right by the base, and it was and had to scoot home quickly to give Utley a chance to score.
2 RBIs for Howard as Street gets ahead of Jason Worth. Now the Phillies can take the lead on a base hit. Boy, how clutch is Ryan Howard. Had the RBI last night that gave the Phillies the win. 2 tonight that ties it. Started with an infield hit from Rollins. Utley with a big at-bat, drawing the walk.
Colorado Rockies this year, when they led after 8 innings, have only 1 loss in the regular season. That was tied for the fewest in the National League. And the main reason for that was Houston Street and his ability to finish games.
And when we began this series, the questions of the bullpen belonged to the Phillies, not the Rockies. Street was so good for him this year as a slider gets Worth out in front. It's 2-2. But Street has struggled in this postseason. He does have the save, but remember, he had runners on base that day. Took the loss last night, gives up the big hit to Howard. That ties it.
Something like 25 of his saves have been 1-2-3 innings too, Brian, and that's been anything but 1-2-3 innings for him here in this division series. Worth cut down on his swing a little bit. Just trying to serve that one.
If you're looking ahead, the Rockies in the bottom of the ninth, they'll have the pitcher spot due up. A lot of left-handed bats on that bench for as Ian Stewart will lead off. And then back to the top of the order, the lefty Gonzalez and the switch hitter Fowler. And Worth sends one to right. That's going to fall for a base hit. Here comes Ryan Howard, and he will score. The Phillies have taken the lead here in the ninth. 3 runs are in.
This is an amazing club and a very resilient one. The confidence in which they play is something to really behold because they don't panic. They're patient. And here's another case of some smart hitting. Jason Worth again took a little off his swing to foul off a 2-2 pitch, and here fooled a little bit, but puts a good swing on a ball away from him to give the Phillies the lead back. What an inning.
So Jason Worth who homered back in the 6th inning, drives in a run that puts the Phillies on top. Street is out. Beimel is coming in as we take a timeout. That look tells it all, doesn't it? Houston Street, the Rockies closer, surrendering 3 runs at this point. And the Philadelphia Phillies have regained the lead here. It's 5-4. And the Phillies still at work. This crowd of nearly 50,000 has been quieted down. Now Jason Worth comes up with a big hit that puts the Phillies on top. Maybe the hit that sends them to the NLCS.
Just some smart hitting. He was just trying to put the ball in play. He fouled off again. He fouled off the 2-2 pitch, shortened his swing again on the next one, and served it into right center to get Howard home. And he's getting a chat from Davey Lopes here. Todd Helton trying to listen in. But keep an eye on him because Beimel is very slow to the plate.
So Beimel in the pitch, and Charlie Manuel will send up Miguel Cairo to hit.
Now this is the pitcher's spot.
Beimel's numbers during the regular year: 71 appearances, just a situational left-hander, just 55 innings in those 71 games. 2 outs. The Phillies have scored 3, and they lead it 5-4. Miguel Cairo, he was a late addition to this playoff roster. He spent most of the year in AAA for the Phillies in Lehigh Valley. Big league journeyman, been around a long time. Been to the postseason before. And instead of Eric Brundtland, Charlie Manuel goes with Cairo,
who he said was swinging the bat better at the end of the year. And you might wonder, why is Beimel in the game? Well, one of the reasons is Jim Tracy didn't want to have Matt Stairs come up here, so Charlie Manuel elected to go the right-handed hitter. But a huge rally in the bottom of the 8th by the Rockies has been matched with a 2-out rally by the Phillies. At least the hits that put them on top have come with 2 outs.
Up to 3 runs for the Rockies with 2 outs. Giambi and Torrealba as Cairo bounces one to Barmes. The inning is finally over for the Rockies. They are down to their last 3 outs. Their season is on the line. The Phillies can advance. The Rockies will be sending up the lefties as Ryan Howard and Jason Worth deliver. Phillies lead by a run. Well, what else would you expect? 2 dynamic offenses, and they have come up big late. The Rockies scored 3 runs with 2 outs in the 8th inning to take a 4-2 lead, but the Phillies come right back with 3 of their own, all 3 coming with 2 away. And the Phillies have a 5-4 lead. Miguel Cairo in the game in left field, his first outfield appearance of the year, as Scott Air is on to pitch this 9th inning. And if you're wondering why no Brad Lidge, the Rockies had a couple of left-handers stacked up to start this inning. With Air announced, Eric Young Jr. is going to pinch hit for Ian Stewart. So the young switch hitter will face Air to start it.
What a spot for him.
Spent most of the year in the minor leagues.
His first at bat in the postseason. And it comes with the Rockies needing a base runner desperately. And he can fly.
One of the fastest runners in baseball, Eric Young.
Got to keep an eye on Scott Air, too. He's gotten ahead quickly. 0-2. It was the right ankle he rolled just last night, but right back out there tonight.
Pedro Feliz guarding that line. Well, Gonzalez will hit next, another left-hander, as the Rockies go back to the top of the order. And then it'll be interesting to see what Charlie Manuel does at that point. Little bouncer. Rollins better hurry. Young is just out. Jimmy Rollins with a good throwing arm. Guns down Eric Young Jr. for out number 1.
It's a good thing he didn't hesitate, or this would have been an infield hit. Quick release by Rollins and a bang-bang play at first. 4.
That's a routine ground ball, and Eric Young Jr. almost beats that one out.
Well, now one of the things, I know Gonzalez has got power. I know he can drive the ball to the gaps. But with Ayers' ankle a question, how nimble is he on the mound? Can he field his position?
Thinking about a bunt maybe here.
I was thinking about it actually when Young went up there, but didn't happen.
Carlos Gonzalez quickly becoming a household name in baseball with his postseason. Certainly a fan favorite here in Colorado. He's 23 years of age and a huge hack. Trying to tie it up with one swing of the bat. He's faced a lot of left-handers in this series. We mentioned it earlier if you weren't with us. Gonzalez has 9 hits. 8 of those hits have come against left-handed pitching. The Phillies lead this series 2-1. The Rockies down to their last 2 outs.
Gonzalez hit a really good pitch from air last night for a double to left center. Victorino shading him a little bit that way. Not expecting him to try and pull air. He had a good pitch down and away and drove it to left center.
There's a little flare that's going to fall for a base hit. Gonzalez keeps on hitting. 2 more hits tonight. He now has 10 hits in the 4 games of this NLDS.
Tried to run one in on him and he fought it off, and a little Ric Flair to left. Tying run aboard.
Gonzalez a fast runner. We mentioned last night he's been slowed a little bit by hamstring injury that he suffered second to last week of the season. I talked to him today. He said he's running just fine. No problems with the hamstring. We'll see.
And he's going to stay with air, perhaps to try to hold him close at first base. Fowler, a better hitter, right-handed than left.
Switch hitting center fielder. Fowler takes a strike.
The other part of the equation is Todd Helton on deck, a left-handed hitter. Fowler, a tough guy to double up to, even if you get the ground ball.
Ball and a strike on Fowler. Brad Lidge loosening in the Philadelphia bullpen. Saved the game last night. Lidge stranded 2 base runners last night.
Yeah, he walked a couple.
Well, last night in a similar spot with the Rockies down a run, Gonzalez, who walked with 1 out in the 9th, and Lidge on the mound, stole second base. He's got a short lead at first. Fowler breaks his bat. Rollins has it, and it's out number 2. and the Phillies are an out away from advancing in this postseason. And a date with the Dodgers beginning Thursday.
Sawed him off and right to Rollins. Phillies were an out away, a strike away from heading back to Philadelphia for Game 5 too, Brian, and they were able to get off the deck and regain the lead, but one more out to get against the best Rocky hitter of all time.
And it's Todd Helton. Scott Ayers stays. Ayers has never saved a game in the postseason. Helton back up the middle, a base hit. Gonzalez will try to go to third. He stumbles around second and cannot make it to third base. Todd Helton with a single. First and second, the Rockies aren't dead yet.
What a game, what a series these two teams are putting on. Charlie Manuel out of the dugout. Looks like he'll bring in Lidge to pitch to Tulowitzki. And a fastball right down the middle, and Helton didn't miss that one. Let's watch Gonzalez here. He was thinking about going to third, but lost his balance going into the base. Maybe a little bit too much of a lean, and his feet went out from under him.
Could be a big play, especially with Brad Lidge and the slider. He stays at second. Ayers is out. And here comes the Philadelphia closer. We'll take a timeout. Stay right there. This one coming right down to the 27th out, and maybe more here tonight. 5-4. The Phillies are an out away from heading to the league championship series against the Dodgers. The Rockies trying to come off the deck again with 2 outs. Brad Lidge is on to pitch. Last night, Joe, he came on, issued 2 walks, but managed to save the ball game and seal up a Philadelphia 6-5 win last night. That gave him the 2-1 advantage.
You could see the great frustration on the face and the reactions from Troy Tulowitzki. He got a pitch to hit and popped it up. It was the second time that had happened to him in the game, where he just missed one. And the problems for Brad Lidge last night, Brian, again, something that's haunted him all year, is command of the fastball. A couple of walks that put him in trouble, and he's going to inherit 2 runners tonight, but just 1 out to get.
11 blown saves during the regular year. Charlie Manuel told us earlier he thinks it was important to wipe the slate clean. When you get to the postseason, the regular season stats are there. You put them away, you start from scratch in the playoffs.
I was just watching him warm up there, Brian. He was all over the place. It wasn't like he was hitting spots warming up. See how it plays out.
Brad Lidge is 14 for 16 in postseason save opportunities. He has not blown a save in the postseason since 2005. And we all remember that one with Albert Pujols hitting one out of Minute Maid Park in Houston.
Likes to throw that get-over slider to start.
Tulowitzki, the batter. And a strike on the corner. That might have been the new wrinkle for Brad Lidge, the cut fastball these years later.
It's a slider that he just takes a little bit off of, Brian. He just likes to drop it in there. It's like an off-speed pitch. It's not his good, hard A1 slider.
Tying run at second. Winning run at first. It's a little surprising that Jim Tracy not running for Todd Helton, but his bench is pretty empty at this point.
Yeah, it's getting a little thin.
Thought we might see Jason Marquis make an appearance as a base runner.
There's the good slider.
Buckled the knees of Tulowitzki, and it's 1-2.
Right in the center of the plate, though. Just had Tulowitzki looking fastball and elected not to swing at it. He may not get a better pitch to hit than that.
Lidge, the Denver native, grew up in a south suburb of Denver, in Inglewood. A strike away from finishing off the Rockies in 2009. 1-2 to Tulowitzki. And he just missed. They'll ask if he went. Able to check his swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Pretty good pitch here. Not that it was a strike, just a good offering to see if he would go after it, and he almost did, but he was able to stop it. And a discussion here, perhaps, Brian, not so much about this next pitch, other than the fact that it might be a setup for the one that follows. He's made some good pitches away. Just off the plate, Tulowitzki can't afford to take anything close.
Well, this is an action pitch. If he goes to 3-2, the runners will get a head start, which could come up big for the Rockies with a base hit. The 2-2. And Tulowitzki is down on strikes. Brad Lidge does it again. And the Philadelphia Phillies are headed to the NLCS, a date with the Dodgers on Thursday. In 4 games, the Phillies take care of the Colorado Rockies, and Brad Lidge comes up with another postseason save. That is number 15 of his career in 17 tries, and the dream stays alive for the Phillies. They advance, and the opportunity to repeat as World Series champions, they take one step closer to that fact.
If Brad Lidge gets his confidence back, that does not bode well for the Dodgers or anybody that they might meet in the World Series, because he was so good at the end of last season. If he gets that back, that's been the missing part of the Phillies this year. And to think that they were 2 down in the 9th inning with 1 out and 2 strikes on Rollins, and come back and score 3 runs to win the game was pretty phenomenal for the defending world champs.
Ryan Howard had the big hit that tied it, a 2 RBI double. Howard with 6 runs batted in the 4 games of the NLDS. And it was Jason Worth who delivered the game winner for the Philadelphia Phillies, as it turned out. Worth with 2 RBIs tonight, including the home run in the 6th. Well, the Phillies are on their way as we check in with David Aldridge. David?
Ryan, this team, we talked about it all series, the difference between 07 and 09, the maturity that you guys have shown. Did that show in the 9th inning, working counts, taking pitches, and getting something finally that you could hit?
Yeah, you know, these last couple of games have been kind of character builders. I think for both teams you got to give credit to first off. But you know, we got down. We could have easily given up, knowing that we can go back home and try and close it out there. But that's the thing about this team, is we don't give up. Chase worked a great AB, got me a shot up there, and you know, just got a good pitch to hit.
What were you trying to do with Street? What were you looking for there?
You know, just trying to have a good AB, just trying to stay calm first off, but just to get a good pitch to hit, and just trying to put it in play.
Now you guys get a return date with the Dodgers in the NLCS. That's got to feel pretty good.
Oh yeah, it feels great. It feels great. You know, right now we're gonna soak it in, and this is just step 2 of where we're trying to get to. So, you know, enjoy it tonight and get ready for LA Thursday.
One more thing, Lidge comes in, gets 2 saves in 2 nights. Any doubts about him anymore?
No, not at all. Not at all. You know, I've said it before. People go through ups and downs, and as long as he's going well for us right now, that's all that matters.
Ryan, thanks very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Brian.
Thank you, David. Thanks to Ryan Howard. A tough ending for the fans of the Colorado Rockies. A 2-run lead going into the 9th inning. And as Joe mentioned, they were down to their last out, but all 3 runs with 2 outs. And the Phillies come up victorious. Let's send it back to David.
You guys, Jason, or just ask Ryan this, the maturity level of this team over the last 2 years, is that what showed in the top of the 9th inning with your ability to work counts and get pitches that you could hit?
I'd say it had a lot to do with it. You know, going back to 07 when we got swept by the Rockies in the playoffs, I think everybody learned a lesson. You know, going into last year in the playoffs, we knew what we had to do, and tonight again we get down, but you know, nobody got rattled and no one was worried, and J-Roll leads off with a good at bat and gets knocked, and then you know, from there things got crazy, but you know, it was just what a game.
Joe Simpson was talking about it up in the booth. Looked like you were just trying to find put the thing in play somewhere on your at-bat. What was going on?
Yeah, I was ahead in the count 2-1. He threw me a good slider, and I swung through it. And then from there, I was just looking to put the ball in play, hit the ball hard somewhere. I knew there was a lot of holes out there. It's a big yard, and luckily I got a slider to hit and flipped it over there.
You got a return date with the Dodgers now. You guys got to the World Series through them last year, but obviously they're different. Are you guys different as well?
Yeah, we're definitely a different team as well, and they got a good ball club, and I think it's going to make for a good series. We're definitely excited about win this game tonight, and got a couple days off here, and we'll focus on the Dodgers.
Jason, congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
All right, back to you, Brian.
Jason Word, the former Dodger, went to the postseason with Los Angeles just a few years back, and the Phillies will return to Los Angeles for the National League Championship Series. This National League Division Series coverage on TBS was presented by BlackBerry and Joe Simpson. Now you're looking at this Philadelphia Phillies ball club, so stacked with their offense, a powerful lineup with speed to burn. They have this great starting rotation of left-handers, and now a confident closer once again in Brad Lidge.
Again, I say that was the missing part of their ball club, and it seems like Brad Lidge is gaining his confidence back with every outing right now. They're the defending world champions, Brian, and you got to knock them off if you want to go anywhere. And for the Dodgers, it's going to be a tough task. Don't underestimate what Los Angeles did to the Cardinals. They had the best record in the National League this year, too. It's going to be a whale of a series, I think. It's going to be tough to top this one in terms of the way these two teams battled, but it's going to be a good one.
Well, the Phillies are getting used to this. Spraying the champagne once again. 2 steps away from trying to repeat. Repeating as a world champion in this game is so hard to do. The Yankees were the last club to do it. They won 3 straight at the end of the 90s and in 2000. But you go all the way back to the Big Red Machine to find the last National League club to repeat as champions. As you see the matchup head-to-head between the Phillies and the Dodgers. 4 wins for the Dodgers, 3 for the Phillies. Pretty evenly matched.
Well, and check out the runs per game and the ERAs. Those were all low-scoring ball games, and you'd expect it to continue into this series. But the way the Phillies are swinging the bat right now, that might be a little bit higher total for them and for the Dodgers, the way they were swinging against the Cardinals. It's going to be tough. It's going to be great for both sides. I can't wait to watch them hook up.
Joe, it's been great working with you. This has been a lot of fun. Enjoyed it.
Good job.
And thanks to our terrific TBS crew. What a series it was. The National League Division Series. It goes 4. The Phillies are on their way. Our final score here tonight, 5-4 Philadelphia. For Joe Simpson, David Aldridge, and the rest of our crew, I'm Brian Anderson saying good night from Denver. Coming up next, it's Inside MLB presented by Captain Morgan. Remember to drink responsibly. Now let's send it to Ernie Johnson in Atlanta. So long from Denver, everyone.
All right, thank you, Brian and Joe. So a rematch in the NLCS coming your way. It was the Phillies in 5 last year against the Dodgers. They will crank it up on Thursday night on TBS. We hit the air at 7:30. They'll play game 1 at 8 o'clock out there at Chavez Ravine. Inside MLB presented by Captain Morgan is next.